Hi, a very good afternoon to everyone. My name is Smriti Shah, and the agenda for today's session is the understanding of how important it is to nail this paper of essay writing and how to pursue this paper in the most effective manner. And that's the agenda for this session. Now, since you guys have come for this session, you might be having certain questions in your mind which you want this session to address, right? So take a piece of paper and a pen and just jot down what are your doubts as far as essay writing is concerned. What are you looking for in this session? Because then only the purpose of this session would be served. Whatever comes to your mind, whatever are your doubts, is it related to philosophical essay? Is it related to quotes, anecdotes, how to structure, where to get the content, everything. Whatever comes to your mind, just write it on the piece of paper, because our agenda is the moment we wind up the session, every question or doubt that you have written on the sheet needs to be resolved. Is that clear? So I'm giving you 2 minutes, just write down. Whatever doubts that you have, just write it on the piece of paper. Right. You might find this a very juvenile exercise, but this is very effective, because many a times you write to know what you are thinking. That's what Stephen King says. I write to know what I think. So write. And make sure when you leave this classroom, there is not even a single doubt which is left in your mind. Everything needs to be resolved for the final time with respect to essay writing. So we've written down the points. Okay? Let me just continue with the session. And at the end of it, if there is still any doubt which is left, you need to ask me the doubt. Okay? See, before we begin with this discussion, the entire session, do we get an idea that this examination has 3 broad stages? You have your prelims, you have mains, and then you have personality test. Now, unlike any other exam, usme kya hota hai? When you clear a stage, you have cleared it in a permanent manner. You don't have to go back to that stage again. But in this examination, if you falter at any of the 3 stages, you have to repeat the entire cycle. So one thing is for sure, we cannot become an IAS officer or clear this exam without clearing the stage of mains. And mains cannot be cleared until and unless you have not conquered this paper. So whether you like it or not, you have to prepare for this paper. But what I have usually observed in most of the aspirant is that we are very focused. We have a very narrow perception about this examination, which is largely driven by 4 papers. History, geography, polity and economy. घूम फिर के यही 4 पेपर को 40 बार पढ़ते रहते हैं इस उम्मीद में ये एग्जाम क्लियर हो जाएगा, without realizing that these 4 dimensions are important, these papers are important, but in a certain capacity. After a certain point of time, what works in your mains is how good you are with your essay paper. Now, before we are starting with this session, let me just put before you what is the significance of this paper. And I know that you must be thinking, Kini ma'am, we have an idea. What is the significance? Trust me, we don't have an idea. Otherwise, we would have definitely prepared for this paper. There are two aspects of exploring the significance of this paper. One is very visible significance, that is the explicit significance. Do we have any idea that how much was the highest score in essay paper ever? The highest possible score which a student has secured in essay paper out of 250? 176. That was the highest which has been secured in this paper, which is not even easily possible in your optional paper. That's the amount of marks a student can secure. Over a period of time, if I have to evaluate, that fine, somebody will say that after introduction of philosophical essays, the score has slightly reduced. But even if it has reduced, people are securing around about 150 marks. For example, this year, the highest has been 158. So, aisa nahi hai that it is not possible. So, we are not saying that you secure 176 or 175 or 161 or 158. Can we have a very basic aim of securing 140? Can we just have an aim that if possible, you are able to secure 55 to 60% marks in this paper, most of your journey has been secured. Because this is going to manage any kind of disruption which happens in your GS papers. Kabhi hota na, out of those 4 GS paper for which we have worked so hard, the paper came unexpected nature, 1 or 2 performance have gone haywire. So essay will come to your rescue. That whatever 10, 15, 20 marks you are losing out in other papers, essay can compensate for that loss. That's the explicit significance about this paper. Second most important thing, which many of you would be asking, what we need to prepare for essay. You are already preparing. The same history, geography, polity, economy that you are studying. GS paper 1, 2, 3, 4. You are already preparing enough for ethics. But how that information has to be consolidated for this paper, that I will discuss in today's session. But other than that, you don't have to study anything separately for this paper, and that's the explicit significance. Do we realize how much we invest our time in preparing for art and culture? How much we invest our time in preparing, let us say, for world history? How much time you are investing even in preparing for modern history for that matter? Or let us talk about broad topics, geography, polity, economy. But even after that much, maximum 100 marks, that is what you get. But here, what is at stake is 250 marks. And I am saying you don't have to study anything separately. Whatever you are studying, you just need to learn how to utilize that existing content while writing the essay. So all you need to do is, if 10 hours you are studying for GS, just 1 hour is required for essay. But if you do the cost-benefit analysis, it is highly rewarding paper. Which other paper will give you the scope of securing 150? There was a time when in ethics people have secured 160, but that has been the exception. Can you score GS paper 1, 2, 3, 150? It doesn't happen. But see how much effort has to be put in to prepare for these 3 papers. But as far as essay is concerned, with minimum possible effort, the maximum reward can be secured. Is this very clear for everyone? Second aspect is the implicit significance. And why am I saying this? This is very important. See, let us suppose you get a question, despite increase in legal provision, violence against women is on the rise. Discuss. It's a simple question. If this question comes in GS paper 1, you will write the answer from social perspective. If the same question is asked in GS paper 2, you will be mentioning about the constitutional statutory provision, and from the perspective of polity and governance, you will be writing the answer. If the same question is asked in GS paper 4, you will be writing the answer from ethical connotation. So can you see, in every which paper, there is a restricted domain within which you have to approach the question. And also, with respect to every question, there is a tail word: elaborate, comment, analyze, discuss, which is further restricting the expression of your content. This is the only paper where there is no restriction. You can discuss a specific topic from as many dimensions as possible. This is one paper which gives you complete freedom to demonstrate your understanding, your intelligence, your knowledge in the most creative manner. Can we write scenes from the movie in essay? Yes. Can we quote poems? Yes. Can we write songs? Yes. Are you getting the point? Can we quote shairis? Yes. Can we quote shloks? Yes. Can we write anecdotes? Yes. If I'm fond of literature, reading biographies, autobiographies, can I make reference to that? Yes. What if I have a scientific background? I am into those research and developments. Can I quote the researchers? Yes. Did you get the point? There is no restriction. You have to use your creativity in the best possible manner as you want to. That is the significance of this paper. And why am I saying this is, stop getting intimidated by this paper. पहली दिक्कत यही है कि यहाँ से भी सब कुछ सुन के जाओगे ना, फिर भी ऐसे लिखोगे नहीं, क्योंकि पेन उठ ही नहीं रहा है, वो फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ लिखा जा ही नहीं रहा है, क्योंकि पहले ही एक डर है, 1200 वर्ड कैसे लिखेंगे, हमसे तो 150 नहीं लिखे जा रहे. ट्रस्ट मी, 150 लिखना सबसे मुश्किल होता है. 1200 तो फिर भी लिखे जा सकते हैं, थोड़ा घूम फिर के भी वापस टॉपिक पे आ जाते हैं. 150 में तो क्या है, जो पूछा है एग्जैक्टली लिखो और उतनी ही जगह में लिखो. Many a times the challenge is to write 150 word. Challenge is never to write a 1200 words. Is that very clear? And most importantly, you don't have any restriction. So take this paper as an opportunity and never ever fear this paper. कौन सा और पेपर है जो आपको ऑप्शन देता है, barring optional? There are 20 questions, you have to attempt every question. कभी लिखा होता है this or that? No. This is the paper which is giving you even the opportunity to choose the topic of your interest. So that's the wonderful thing about this paper. Why take it as a challenge? Take it as an opportunity. कि 4 टॉपिक में से एक लिखना है यार, वो भी अपनी मर्जी का लिखना है. क्यों नहीं लिख सकते? औरों ने लिखा है, आप भी लिख सकते हो. बस उसमें एक छोटा सा कैविएट है कि although you have to write on the topic of your choice, but the point or the concern is to convince the examiner about your point of view regarding that topic. That's the only thing which needs to be prepared, and that we will work in today's session. The challenge is not choosing the topic or writing on the topic. The only challenge is how to convince the reader that whatever you have written is right. That's the only job which is supposed to be prepared. तो बहुत छोटा सा काम करना है. Is that clear? So on this note, we will start with today's session. But before we start with any session, I just wanted to draw your attention to this, that every paper has a syllabus. So we also have a syllabus as far as essay paper is concerned. Look at the syllabus very clearly. UPSC has mentioned 4 things. 1, remain as close to the topic as possible. Arrange the arguments in the orderly fashion. 3rd, remain as concise as possible. And whenever you give exact and effective expression, you will be rewarded for that. These are the 4 demands that UPSC has put forward before the aspirants. Now tell me something. Have they written anywhere ethics, economics, polity, history? Have they written? No. Because they are already assuming that this is what you are already preparing. So whatever you are preparing, now your focus should be how to remain close to the topic. Do you notice that UPSC is being very kind? They are acknowledging the fact that ethic or essay topics are very subjective in nature. The same topic can be written in a different manner by him, it can be written in a different manner by me. So they are not asking you to exactly answer, they are asking you remain as close to the topic as possible. And whatever you are writing, don't write it in a haphazard manner. Just make sure that everything is arranged in an orderly fashion, so that whatever you are writing is making sense for the person who's reading your essay script. And do not beat around the bush. Remain as concise as possible. Sometimes होता है ना, दोस्त पूछते हैं यार भाई कहना क्या चाह रहे हो, मुद्दे पे आओ. So UPSC is saying please stick to the point. So you just need to hit the bull's eye. Remain as concise as possible. And they are trying to incentivize you that if you write exact and effective expression, they are going to give you extra marks. So now whenever you write your essay, keep these 4 points in your subconscious mind. Automatically that will be reflected on your script. Is the syllabus part clear? But syllabus इतना आसान नहीं होता. अब उन्होंने तो 4 शब्द लिख दिए, remain as close, concise कर लेना, order में कर लेना, और exact effective होगा तो नंबर दे देंगे. अब मुद्दा आता है ये सब करें कैसे? यही तो मेन चैलेंज है कि how to go about this. So the first thing or the first agenda for the day is to discuss that what actually is being tested through your essay script. And through these points, although it looks very simple, I will discuss every doubt that you guys have in your mind. So let's start with the first thing. What is the purpose of this paper? Why UPSC is conducting mains examination which is consisting of a paper on essay? What actually it is trying to test? The moment you know the purpose of something, accordingly you can streamline your preparation. So the first and foremost purpose is without doubt. Essay is hands down test of your knowledge. And there is no second thought about it. Ma'am, I don't have a very good language. I have some issues with vocabulary. I can't write very flowery statements. वो उसका test ही नहीं है. It's a test of your knowledge. And knowledge does not just means the information that you have acquired in 1 or odd years of your preparation. It is about everything that you have experienced so far. Can we assume basic minimum age 21? Everyone here? So for past 21 years, what have been your experiences? What have been your observation? What have been your value system? Everything is being tested through this essay paper. So first and foremost thing, it is a test of your knowledge. Now we don't stop here. The problem is we think that एक topic आया and I know a quotation for this topic. I know one good story about this topic. I can think of 2-3 examples on this topic. Fine, this is the topic I'm going to attempt. और फिर 500 words के बाद क्या होगा? You have nothing else to write. And in that context, either you would be repeating your points or you will be deviating from the demand of the topic. And as a result, we land up getting double-digit marks. So what it exactly means, so I am taking one important topic here, that is factors which will be deciding what should be the topic on which the essay should be written. Topic चुनते कैसे हैं? There are 3 criteria. The first criteria is, so under this test of knowledge, the first issue is topic selection. There are 3 criteria. 1, are you able to comprehend the main demand of the topic? If you have not understood the main demand of the topic, please do not attempt that topic. It will backfire. I'll give you a very small example. Hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. This was the question which was asked by UPSC. What is the meaning of the topic? Hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. जो हाथ पालना झुलाते हैं वही decide करते हैं what kind of personalities are going to rule the world. So everybody thought that it is the mother who actually rocks the cradle. And everybody thought that the topic is on women empowerment. But the topic was on socialization. It was not women empowerment. Because hand that rocks the cradle need not necessarily be of that mother. It can be of the father also. It can be of the teacher also. It can be of a charismatic leader also. That is how you are interpreting the topic. The topic was on socialization. That was the key demand of the essay. It was not on women empowerment. Women empowerment could have been one dimension of the entire essay, that since the hand that rocks the cradle largely is that of the mother. So if you want to have a desirable future, you need to empower your women. That can be one of the aspect of the essay. It cannot be the entire essay. So the point which I'm trying to make here is, do not choose the topic if you cannot comprehend the main demand of the essay. Once you have understood the demand of the essay, then you need to test, can you explore the demand from multi-dimensional perspective? Can you explore the demand from multi-dimensional perspective? It is a given thing. There should not be any doubt about it, that essay always needs to be multi-dimensional. So if you cannot explore the demand from 7-8 dimensions, please don't attempt the topic. Uska reason hai, 1200 word nahi banenge. So it should be, or how to make it multi-dimensional, wo main sikhaungi. But you have to explore it at least from 7 to 8 dimension. And finally, do we have enough examples, data, perspectives to substantiate my arguments? If you fulfill all the 3 points, then you choose the topic. Otherwise, not. That's the basic thing. और अभी लगेगा रे मैम ये तीनों चीजें सोचेंगे टाइम नहीं लग जाएगा. जब एक बार आदत पड़ जाती है तो सबसे पहले यही देखते हो, what is the basic demand and can I explore the demand from 6-7 dimensions, and for every dimension do I have enough examples to justify my argument. And this is how you decide whether the topic needs to be attempted or not. Is the first criteria for topic selection clear for everyone? The second thing which has to be kept in mind, you have 2 sections, section A and section B. This time UPSC again was very kind. They asked 2 set of topics. One was philosophical and other was issue based topic. For example, there was a topic on girls and boys. There was a topic on justice and charity. There was a topic on education. Whereas on the other section, everything was a philosophical topic. If such a situation arises, that's my opinion, write one philosophical and one issue based, so that you can show the examiner that you have command on both the type of essay writing. And automatically, without any deliberate effort, the style of essay writing will also change. Because one way it is philosophical and other it is issue based essay. So if such kind of choices emerges, I would suggest write 2 different types of essays, so that your points are not repeated, your structuring is not repeated, your style of writing is not repeated. So that gives you an edge over others. But let us assume that UPSC again repeats the previous trend and all 8 topics are philosophical. Then how to decide which topic to be chosen? I'm generally asking, have you gone through the topics which were asked by UPSC in previous year? Did you get time to just look? Okay. Now, I'm giving you a question. There is a topic, life is a long journey from human being to being humane. Do we have scope to write arguments in this topic? Can we discuss this topic? We have enough arguments, ठीक? There was another topic, there are always better practices to best practices. Did you understand the topic? There are always better practices to best practices. What is the basic essence of the topic? Don't run after perfection, because there is nothing called perfect. There will always be a better thing to what you consider as best. How you are going to approach this topic? Maximum you can discuss what is best. You can talk about that how one should go for better, because best means there is no further scope of improvement. But then the entire essay would go in writing the examples to justify this viewpoint, that how in social realm, how in political realm, how in legal realm, economic realm, scientific realm, or technology, or security, there are always better practices to best practices. But do you realize that after a certain point of time, the essay can get monotonous? Because घूम फिर के बात तो एक ही कह रहे हो ना हर एग्जाम्पल में कि there is better practices to best practices. Did you get the point? So अगर ऐसी choice आए, so it is just an observation, choose the argumentative essay. Because after a certain point of time, just writing the examples to the point or the topic under consideration will make your essay monotonous. क्योंकि फिर क्या होगा, आपको 4-5 लिखने तो 1200 वर्ड है, बहुत कम हुआ 1000 वर्ड, यानी 10 साइट्स तो लिखनी ही पड़ेंगी ना. कितना बेस्ट समझाओगे? बेस्ट का एक ही मतलब है, उसमें क्या लिखोगे? बेटर को और कैसे डिफाइन करोगे? सो आफ्टर अ सर्टेन पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम यू विल हैव टू टेक हेल्प ऑफ एग्जाम्पल्स. बट व्हेन यू राइट टू मेनी एग्जाम्पल्स वन आफ्टर द अदर, इट बिकम्स वेरी monotonous. So such kind of topics should be chosen when you have no other option left. Is that very clear for everyone? Is it making sense? So is there any further doubt related to topic selection? Are we clear? Acha, can my optional decide which topic to choose? Of course. And it should be the criteria. Many people fear that agar optional se related topic choose karenge, so maybe the essay becomes too academic. Aisa kuch nahi hoga. You have the content. You just need to reduce the intensity of the content while writing your argument. Please choose the topic if you have enough content to support the essay. Another major doubt with respect to topic selection. Should I use or should I attempt the easy topic, or should I attempt the topic which is totally out of box? Out of list ho jaoge. So please, hands down, choose the topic on which you have the content. It doesn't matter whether it is easy or it is something which is very unique. Is that very clear? So if people have written the essay on वो girl and boy वाला, कि girl are weighed down by the restriction and boys by the demand, जो इस साल का easiest topic था. But if you can write it in the effective manner, hands down, please choose the topic. And I have arguments to support it also. There was a time when topic was if development is not engendered, then it is endangered. Highest were 175, secured by a girl. Did you get the point? Next year, the topic was fulfillment of new women in India is a myth. Highest were 176, again secured by a girl. मैं सिर्फ आपको क्लीशे कॉम्बिनेशंस बता रही हूँ. Did you get the point? तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. If you have the command over the topic, please choose the topic. Is that clear? Now, important thing. Let us suppose there are two topics in the same section, which I have considerable knowledge. All my boxes are getting ticked. Now, which one to choose? Only one criteria, the topic in which you are emotionally invested. Hands down, it will work for you. For example, this year, in the same section, there was a topic on girl, there was a topic on justice, there was a topic on education. From the background of sociology and society, I know I can nail all the three topics. I will write it on girls. Because that topic, I am more emotionally invested. When you feel for the topic, when you are invested in the topic, the chances of writing creative aspect is very high. Interlinkages automatically happens. You can think beyond the obvious. Why? Because you have interest in that topic. So if ever given a situation, there are two topics where you have a dilemma, choose the topic in which you are emotionally invested or you have interest in that topic. Automatically, the expression of your content will improve. Is it making sense for everyone? Regarding topic selection, is everything clear? Can we proceed to the next thing? The next aspect, once we proceed after the knowledge criteria, the second topic is comprehension skills. For me, this is very important. Let us suppose you are a very knowledgeable person and you have written a good essay. But while I'm reading the essay, I can't comprehend a single word that you have written. All your efforts will go in vain. Do you realize examiner doesn't know you? I to at least know you. ठीक है, I have interacted with you, I might have seen how much hard work you have put in, so I might have certain biased opinion कि बंदे ने इतनी मेहनत करी है, 4 नंबर और दे देते. But examiner doesn't know you at all. The only mode of communication between you and your examiner is your script. So if your script is not comprehensible for the examiner, you will not fetch the marks. If you remember the first line of the session, I told you, the challenge is that you have to convince the examiner with respect to your viewpoint. So if your essay is not comprehensible by the examiner, you will not fetch marks. And what do I mean by comprehensibility? Stop jargonizing your essay. Unnecessarily, you don't have to inject difficult or, let us say, convoluted statements or flowery language, which many people use. If you have good command on your English, use it to your advantage. But अगर उतना command नहीं है, तो unnecessary उसे jargonize करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. Simple essay will fetch you more marks if the person is able to understand what you are writing. I am giving you a easiest method to explore this. Write small paragraphs. And in every para, write small statements. आप अपनी आंसर राइटिंग में खुद डिफरेंस देखोगे. जिसकी इंग्लिश बहुत अच्छी नहीं है, जिसके सेंटेंस फॉर्मेशन उतने अच्छे नहीं हैं, a basic advice, on one sheet of paper, at least 2 to 3 paragraphs have to be written, and in every paragraph 2 to 3 statements have to be written. आप बोलोगे मैम इसमें क्या रॉकेट साइंस है? रॉकेट साइंस है, कभी ऐसे लिखो और खुद पढ़ो. पूरे पेज में एक पैराग्राफ होता है, और कभी कभी एक पैराग्राफ में एक भी फुल स्टॉप नहीं होता. यू स्टार्ट एंड यू गो ऑन हाउएवर, व्हेनेवर, वेयरएवर एंड फॉरएवर, एंड फाइनली फुल स्टॉप लगता है जब वो पैराग्राफ एंड होता है. यू डोंट रियलाइज जो पढ़ता है ना उसके लिए बहुत अनोइंग होता है, बिकॉज आफ्टर सर्टन पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम आवर अटेंशन गेट्स स्नैप्ड. वी डोंट अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट यू हैव रिटन, एंड देन वी अगेन हैव टू गो बैक एंड रीड, अरे कहना क्या चाह रहा था. एग्जामिनर इतने एफर्ट नहीं मारेगा. हमारे यहाँ तो फीडबैक मैकेनिज्म है, तुम लोग दे देते हो कि मैम ये लिखा था फिर भी नंबर नहीं मिले. वहाँ जाके थोड़ी ना लिखोगे कि हमने तो सब लिखा था, हमको नंबर क्यों नहीं मिले. सो द पॉइंट हियर इज, अगर एक बार में ऐसे समझ आ गया तो ठीक, नहीं आया तो दोबारा कोई आपका ऐसे पढ़ेगा भी नहीं. सो वर्क ऑन योर कॉम्प्रिहेंशन स्किल्स. राइट स्मॉल स्टेटमेंट्स, राइट स्मॉल पैराग्राफ्स, एंड अननेसेसरली डोंट जार्गनाइज योर एसे. लोगों को लगता है कि अगर भारी भरकम शब्द लिखेंगे तो सामने वाले को लगेगा कि भाई कोई लिटरेरी फिगर ने ऐसे लिखा. ऐसा कुछ नहीं लग रहा हमको ये और लग रहा है कि हमारा समय खराब कर दिया तुमने ऐसा लिखकर, हमको एक वर्ड नहीं समझ आ रहा है इसमें क्या लिख रहे हो. तो प्लीज ऐसा कुछ मत करिएगा. इज दैट वेरी क्लियर फॉर एवरीवन? नेक्स्ट, कॉन्टेक्चुअल क्लैरिटी. सी, दिस इज एक्सट्रीमली इंपॉर्टेंट. एक टॉपिक लिखो, इफ डेवलपमेंट is not engendered, then it is endangered. If development is not engendered, then it is endangered. See, although engendered has a different literal meaning, but the Hindi translation made it clear. अच्छा, कभी कभी हिंदी ट्रांसलेशन पढ़ लेना, क्योंकि यूपीएससी ये भी झोल कर जाता है. Engender का इंग्लिश लिटरल मीनिंग इज लीडिंग टू समथिंग, लेकिन जब हिंदी ट्रांसलेशन पढ़ा तो उसका मतलब उन्होंने इस तरह से लिया था कि whether development has a gender connotation to itself or not. ठीक है, but having said that, read the statement. If development is not engendered, मतलब if development does not have a gender connotation to itself, then development itself is endangered. अब suppose करो आपने ऐसे लिखना शुरू किया, an entire essay you are talking about how development is not engendered, but you forgot to answer the second part of the essay, that development itself becomes endangered. Did you understand? और ये अक्सर होता है. Because you start writing, अच्छा ये तो women empowerment पे है, देखना है कि how different aspects socio political economic women is not being developed. But आपको ये भी तो लिखना था हर एग्जाम्पल में कि अगर फीमेल लेबर फोर्स पार्टिसिपेशन नहीं हाई है तो उसकी वजह से ओवरऑल इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ इज गेटिंग हैम्पर्ड. If women is not getting representation in political domain, then overall the governance is getting negatively impacted. If women's role in his environment is not being recognized, then overall the sustainable development is getting challenged. आपको समझ आया contextual clarity? That every point that you are writing should address the entire demand of the essay. Whenever we write the examples, I'll give you another example. इस बार का topic था that girls are weighed down by restriction and boys by demand. Both are equally harmful discipline. हमने क्या किया यूजुअली कि गर्ल्स के साथ क्या प्रॉब्लम आ रही है, बॉयज के साथ क्या प्रॉब्लम आ रही है, और हमने अपने एग्जाम्पल्स दे दिए. हमने ये रियलाइज नहीं किया कि ये पूरा ऐसे इन टोटलिटी देखना है. तो अगर स्टीरियोटाइप एग्जिस्ट कर रहा है तो वो सेम स्टीरियोटाइप हाउ इट इज क्रिएटिंग रिस्ट्रिक्शन फॉर women and how it is creating expectation from men. So in every example that you are writing, both the aspect of the essay needs to be addressed. Are you getting my point here? और जब हम isolation में address करते हैं, तो जो overall theme of the topic होती है, we get digressed from that theme. Is that making sense for everyone? For example, to what extent capitalism has led to inclusive growth? You can't just write about capitalism. In every example, you have to establish the link between capitalism and inclusive growth. Is it making sense for everyone? Because, see, one thing you need to understand. Your content will never be same as my content. But one thing cannot vary for both of us is the context. Context remains the same for you also and for me also. That context cannot change for any one of us. How we approach that essay, remaining within the context, the content can vary. Is that very clear? So if you digress from the main context of the topic, you end up getting double digit. बहुत लोग पूछते हैं ना कि दो ऐसे लेके फिर भी 80, 85, 90 क्यों आए? वो इसीलिए आए क्योंकि हो सकता है contextual digression has happened. Is this very clear for everyone? Is it making sense? Can we proceed? Next, filtering the content. Now, for me, this becomes very important. And I think this will answer your doubt. How to prepare for the content. Now, can I assume that you guys have done your foundation? एक basic, coaching ली नहीं ली वो अलग है, मतलब एक basic read हो गया है. See, one disclaimer, until and unless you have not done your ethics paper, until and unless you have not done your Indian society, do not start writing your essays. You will always be short on content. आप जब भी लिखने बैठोगे आप बोलोगे मैम हमारे पास ऐसे क्यों नहीं लिख पा रहे हो क्योंकि जी हमारे पास कंटेंट नहीं है, and then you will blame the paper. The problem does not lie with the paper. The problem lies that the basic thing which is required, the necessary condition to attempt essay paper is that you should be prepared for your ethics and you should be prepared for Indian society. Is that very clear? अगर ये दोनों topics prepared नहीं हैं, essay writing cannot be possible. Is it making sense for everyone? Now see. Let us suppose you have discussed or you have studied your ethics paper. Can I say that within ethics, there is a topic called socialization? Within ethics, there is a topic called emotional intelligence. Within ethics, there is a topic called values. And within ethics, there is another topic which is moral thinkers. These topics are going to be extremely helpful when it comes down to philosophical essay writing. Anything can be kept at bay, but these 4 topics have to be prepared in detail. Is that very clear? For example, I'll just show how to filter the content. Let us suppose we are preparing socialization. Prepare the concept of socialization. Prepare the mechanisms through which socialization takes place. Prepare the agencies of socialization. Let us say you are preparing family. You are preparing education system. You are preparing media, religion, peer group. Let us suppose you are preparing these agencies of socialization. Then with respect to every agency, prepare their role and prepare their examples. And when you are preparing example, prepare both positive example as well as negative example. And you will realize that you are prepared for the essay. And why am I saying this is? Philosophical essays में हमेशा theme होती है. For example, hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. If you are prepared with the topic on socialization in detail, can you write 1,000 to 1,200 words? Similarly, there was another topic which I mentioned. Life is a long journey from human being to being humane. We all are human being, but that does not guarantee we are being humane. Because to being humane, you need to have certain virtues. You need to be kind, compassionate, integrity, warm. Did you get the point? And how do you develop this value system? Socialization. So whether you become a being humane or not, that depends upon the family, education system, media, religion, peer group. Did you get the point? Is it making sense? Second, prepare emotional intelligence very well. We'll discuss in some minutes that emotional intelligence can help you in writing a good way forward when it comes down to philosophical essays, which I'll reiterate when I'm talking about conclusion. Or kabhi kabhi, the topic, the basic essence is emotional intelligence. Is that very clear? इस बार का कोई topic आया था? Visionary thinking happens at the intersection of intuition and logic. That was this year's topic. Read again. Amit, give me the exact topic. Visionary thinking is साल का topic. Visionary thinking happens at the intersection of intuition and logic. Can I say it is talking, the basic essence of this topic is one needs to be emotionally intelligent. Only then visionary thinking can take place. Did you get my point? So kabhi kabhi the entire essay can be asked on emotional intelligence. So again, this topic becomes very important. Is it making sense for everyone? Next, prepare your values well. I'll just ask one question. Have you read that topic, the ship is safe in the harbor, but it is not meant to be? Is the topic clear for everyone? What is the basic essence of the topic? Courage or to leave your comfort zone, ठीक है? Risk taking abilities होनी चाहिए, ठीक है? Status quoism नहीं होना चाहिए, habit of procrastination नहीं होनी चाहिए. All of this is what? Values. So if you prepare values such as courage, if you have prepared values such as wisdom, if you have prepared values such as risk-taking ability, or you have prepared values such as temperance, do we understand that writing examples in this essay will become easy? Is it making sense? क्योंकि घूम फिर के कोई ना कोई value होगी which would be the underlying essence of that topic. Okay, let's put another topic. The roof should be repaired when sun is shining. What is the underlying idea? Prepare in advance for disaster. So can I say that you have wisdom to foresee that what can be the future things, ठीक है? Or can I say you are very proactive? You have prompt decision making skills. So ये सब क्या है? This is nothing but the virtue, the personality traits of the individual. And if you have prepared these values well, again you will have the example to write. Is it making sense? For example, let us suppose I was preparing this topic of wisdom. I thought of a person and his name is Sam Manekshaw. Remember 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War? People were saying that let's venture into the war. And he said, if we venture into the war at this point of time, hands down, we are going to lose. Because he wanted winters to set in. He wanted the rains to stop. He wanted the leadership to create the conducive global perspective with respect to India participating in the war. They wanted Pakistan to make the first move. They wanted to prepare Mukti Vehni so that they don't have to fight on different fronts. They wanted to sign an explicit treaty of friendship with Russia that in case US intervenes in the war, we have the support of Russia. Did you get the point? And he was taking time to ensure all these things are falling in place. And when Pakistan attacked us, they thought that it's a surprise attack for us. But we were already prepared. In fact, we wanted them to make the first move so that we are not declared on the global platform as the initial aggressor. Did you get the point? The roof should be repaired when sun is shining. Where did I get the example of wisdom? I was anyway preparing for my ethics. I was preparing wisdom as a value. Within that, I have prepared the example of Sam Manekshaw, and this became the introduction of my essay. But ऐसा थोड़ी ना कि सिर्फ Sam Manekshaw पढ़ोगे. जब आप wisdom की तैयारी कर रहे हो, तो you would be preparing examples from different perspective. For example, Dr. Rajendra Bharood. He is a DM Nand Darbar district, Maharashtra. So when he was a doctor, तो जब first wave आई COVID की, so then he was already studying that what is happening around and everything. And he actually predicted that if the second wave comes, during that wave, oxygen, as in it would be less in amount, and that would create the problem. So beforehand, he established the oxygen plant so that none of the person in his area suffers due to lack of oxygen. What is the example? Wisdom. And where are you applying? The roof should be repaired when sun is shining. तो वहां आपके लिए वो ऑलरेडी आप प्रिपेयर्ड हो, आपके लिए कोई बड़ी बात नहीं होगी अगर आप इस तरह से तैयारी कर रहे हो. Is that very clear? So just for your reference, let us suppose I am preparing a value. Let us say my value is integrity. और देखो, ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ ऐसे के लिए आप बोलोगे मैम आपने शुरू में कहा था कुछ भी एक्स्ट्रा नहीं पढ़ना और आप बोल रहे हो पढ़ने के लिए. आप एथिक्स में ऑलरेडी ये पढ़ रहे हो. एथिक्स में वैल्यूज तैयार करते हैं, तो यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग डेफिनेशन ऑफ इंटेग्रिटी, यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग कैरेक्टरिस्टिक फीचर्स ऑफ इंटेग्रिटी, यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग एग्जाम्पल्स ऑफ इंटेग्रिटी. एंड एग्जाम्पल्स कहां से? लेट अस से पॉलिटिकल लीडरशिप, लेट अस से कॉर्पोरेट, let us say administration, let us say sports, let us say mythology, or let us say your personal example. आप तो पढ़ ही रहे हो. And finally, how to develop integrity. This is already what you are preparing in ethics. This just needs to be applied in essay. So you don't have to study anything extra. Is it making sense for everyone? Filtering the content समझ आ रहा है कि filter कैसे करते हैं? What is supposed to be done beforehand? Is it clear? ठीक है. अब बस इसमें एक छोटा सा addition करना होगा, and the addition can be quotes, poems. If you can think about a quote on integrity, or a short poem on integrity, or you can use some examples from cinema, or let us say any book which deals with value of integrity, some character in the book that can be prepared. Again, this will help you in both ethics and essay. Is it making sense? Now you need to tell me, is filtering the content clear for everyone? How the content needs to be filtered? तो ये तो हो गया ethics. अब आता है सोसाइटी. सोसाइटी में जितने भी वल्नरेबल सेक्शंस हैं, जितने भी सोशल जस्टिस के इश्यूज हैं, टू बी वेरी प्रिसाइज, इट हैज टू बी प्रिपेयर्ड. यू हैव टू प्रिपेयर हेल्थ, you have to prepare education, there is no second doubt about it. You have to prepare poverty, you have to prepare capitalism, you have to prepare, let us say, hunger for that matter. You have to prepare social justice. These are some broad topics which has to be prepared. Even though, अब जैसे क्या होता था, इस बार thankfully they asked ये issue based. नहीं तो last year तक everyone was like, हम क्यों issue based पढ़ रहे हैं, अब तो UPSC नहीं पूछेगा, अब तो सिर्फ philosophical आएगा. आप कभी प्रिडिक्ट नहीं कर सकते यूपीएससी क्या पूछेगा. ऑलवेज बी प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर द वर्स्ट सिनेरियो. इज दैट वेरी क्लियर? ठीक है, तो एक एग्जाम्पल देके बस बता देती हूं. लेट अस सपोज यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग एजुकेशन. हाउ यू आर गोइंग टू प्रिपेयर सम कोट्स related to education, prepare your anecdotes related to education. Prepare your data related to education. Historical evolution of education in context of India. You can also prepare, let us say, international examples or the models which can be replicated in order to improve the education system. Then you talk about what is quality education, how it is different from being literate, tiers of education system. And when you are preparing tiers of education system, the easiest way is prepare the issues, government efforts, what are the lacunas in the government efforts, and what should be the way forward. Finally, you prepare your sustainable development goal number 4 related to education. And then various manifestations of education topic. For example, you should prepare vocational education. You should prepare value-based education. You should prepare experiential learning. You can also talk about privatization of education system. And you will realize कोई भी essay आएगा, you will be able to answer if you have prepared the topic holistically. आप कुछ भी पूछ लें, चाहे वो आपसे value based education पूछें, education without values, no matter how useful it is, tends to create a clever devil. UPSC का topic था. अगर आपने value based education पढ़ा है, you will not find it difficult to answer this question. इस बार का topic education का you can answer if you have prepared this broad structure. और ये बिल्कुल भी मुश्किल नहीं है. अब आप बोलोगे मैम फिर आप पढ़ने को कह रही हो, सोशल जस्टिस में तो पढ़ ही रहे हो. Education you are studying as a part of social justice. I'm just asking you to add 2-3 extra things. Quotes, anecdotes, historical evolution, and any international model which can be replicated. I'm just asking you to add few dimensions to it, and your preparation is done. Is it making sense for everyone? Is it clear? Did you understand what is filtering of the argument? Can we proceed now? See, multidimensionality I'll take in some time when I'm teaching body of the essay. तो वहाँ पे मैं multidimensionality को cover करूँगी. After that, it is personality traits. Now, this is a very valuable point as far as my opinion is concerned. Just wait. There is a topic in our ethics which is saying attitude. Have you heard of this word, attitude? उसमें एक बात कही जाती है, when you don't have enough time, then whatever is your original attitude, that gets reflected in your behavior. Do you realize that you are writing 2 essays on 2 different topics in 3 hours? Whatever is your original personality, you, without realizing it also, that will be reflected in your paper. Now the question arises, what kind of aspirants they are looking for? I'm generally asking, what kind of personality traits should an IAS officer have? Integrity. What else? Empathy, compassion. So can I say pro-poor, pro-vulnerable section, pro-women stand has to be reflected in your paper? You cannot ever support any social evils which are practiced in the society. You should always have a compassionate attitude and that should be reflected in your paper. What else? एक leader कैसा होना चाहिए? एक administrator कैसा होना चाहिए? Optimistic. No matter how many negative points you have written in your essay, you cannot end the essay on a pessimistic note. You should always provide the solutions to the problems that you have highlighted in the paper. Why? Because you are an optimistic person. And not only an optimistic person, you are also a rational person. So the way forward that you suggest should be practical. It should not be something which is not achievable, because that will show how you are not only optimistic, but you are also rational in your orientation. Is it very clear? Most importantly, if you are going to be an IAS officer, you should be a wise person. And wise person never takes extreme stands. Wise person always follows what is the middle path. So golden mean is the golden rule. That should be the attitude for an IAS officer. Is that very clear? And that should be reflected in your essay writing. That is why we say this examination is not just an examination but a process. आपकी जो भी ideology है वो reflect हो जाएगी. और उसका reason है, जो examples आप choose करते हो, that many a times reflects your ideology. So when you are doing filtering the content, make sure that you are choosing examples which are non-controversial. You should never defame your leadership. You can criticize or you can be critical, but you cannot criticize the leadership come what may. So always portray your leadership in a positive light. These are some of the points which have to be kept in mind. आपकी moral reasoning reflect होनी चाहिए आपके essay में. Always take a ethical stand. Never take a stand which would be taken by a common man. You cannot compromise. Somebody said integrity. You can never compromise on your ethics, and that should be reflected in the answers that you have written or the points you have written in your essay. Is it making sense for everyone? So it is a test of your personality. So problem solving approach honi chahiye, optimism hona chahiye, rationality honi chahiye, wisdom dikhna chahiye, middle path follow karna chahiye, and most importantly, good communication skills. जो भी लिखा है, that should be clearly communicated to the person who is reading your script. Is it making sense for everyone? Can we proceed further? Next, analytical skills. Oh, this is very important. Analytical skills, many a times you end up, and this is a very common problem I've observed. Whenever I review the scripts, one common problem which I notice is many of our essays are not analytical in nature. And what I mean by analytical is, every essay should have an argument, and every essay should have adequate substantiation. Now just hold. Substantiation का मतलब होता है examples. Now just hold. Many of the essays which I go through, I notice you think you are making your essay multi-dimensional. क्योंकि हमारी एक ही सोच है multi-dimensionality की. Remember, socio-political, economic, cultural. ठीक है. So what I notice is dimension एक ही होता है, और उसके अंदर हमने examples दिए होते हैं social, political, economic, कल्चरल, और फिर जब हमें फीडबैक मिलता है कि ऐसे इज वेरी यूनिडायमेंशनल, देन वी आर कंफ्यूज्ड. लिखा तो है सोशो पॉलिटिकल, इकोनॉमिक, कल्चरल, तो इनको मल्टी डायमेंशनल लग क्यों नहीं रहा? क्योंकि आपको ये समझ नहीं आ रहा कि आप सिर्फ एग्जाम्पल्स दे रहे हो. वेयर इज द आर्ग्यूमेंट? Now the problem is, do you realize that if you only write examples without writing the argument, what is the purpose of these examples? ये क्यों लिखे? और लेट अस सपोज आपने आर्ग्यूमेंट दिया लेकिन एग्जाम्पल्स नहीं दिए. डू यू अंडरस्टैंड दैट देयर इज अ वेरी बेसिक प्रॉब्लम ऑफ मेकिंग योर एसे लुक वेरी प्रीची? वो प्रवचन लगने लगेगा. डिड यू गेट द पॉइंट? इफ यू डोंट राइट योर एग्जाम्पल्स, यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड हु आर यू, what is your credibility, how should I believe that what you are writing is true? So you will have to give me substantiation in order to give credibility to your arguments. Every essay without doubt needs to be analytical, and for an essay to be analytical, it should have a good blend of argument and substantiation. For every argument, give me good substantiation, and do not write substantiation without the argument. The purpose is totally defeated. अब दोबारा कभी भी ऐसे लिखा हो उसे वापस जाके पढ़ना और देखना कि एक ही आर्ग्यूमेंट होगा जिसमें आपने 5-5 एग्जाम्पल्स दिए होंगे और हर एग्जाम्पल एक ही बात कह रहा होगा. हाँ, लेकिन एग्जाम्पल क्योंकि आपने सोशो पॉलिटिकली, इकोनॉमिकली लिखे हैं तो आपको ये लग रहा है कि आपने उस ऐसे को मल्टी डायमेंशनल कर दिया, बट इन रियलिटी इट इज यूनी डायमेंशनल. इज इट मेकिंग सेंस? एंड अभी जस्ट अनदर 10 minutes एंड आई विल डिस्कस व्हाट इज मल्टी डायमेंशनैलिटी. यहां तक क्लियर हुआ सबको? ठीक है. हाँ जी. Next, coherence, that's the basic problem. Flow and structuring. बहुत बार अक्सर स्टूडेंट पूछते हैं कि coherence कैसे लाएं ऐसे में, flow कैसे लाएं. I have discussed these two things before also. Let's just have a look at it. The easiest way of ensuring coherence or connectivity in your essay, there are two options. One, you write the connecting statement, or you can make utilization of subheadings. Let me give you an example. मुझे ये कहना था कि having discussed the opportunities, now let us explore the challenges. Now see how can we write this. Having established the potential benefits, it's crucial to now address the challenges. With an understanding of the opportunity, we must now delve into the concerns. Now that we have considered the bright side, let's turn our attention to the darker aspects. लोग पूछते हैं ना कि मैम हर बार फिर सेम चीज लिखेंगे तो मोनोटोनस तो नहीं लगेगी. मैं आपको एक ही चीज को अलग अलग तरीके से लिखना बता रही हूं. अब सपोज करो ये नहीं था, प्रोस्पेक्ट्स और challenges होते, या having established the potential benefits, now let us try to explore the limitations. Or having established the social significance, now let us try to establish the economic aspects. Did you get the point? So can we use these different statements in order to act as a connecting statement between two broad dimensions so that coherence or the continuity in the essay can be established? Read it again. Transitioning from the positive aspects, let's pivot to the negative implication. क्या आपको variety दिख रही है? So if you prepare, और ये पहले से तैयार होता है, ये तैयारी है कि अगर मुझे connecting lines डालनी है तो what are the possible connecting lines which I can prepare? तो आप connecting lines socio-political में या different dimensions में जा रहे हो, या let us say individual, societal, national, having discussed the prospects at individual level, now explore the positive side from the national perspective. Did you get the point? So in simple words, the connecting statement is थोड़ा वो लिखो जो already discuss किया है, and write next what you are going to discuss. That's the connecting statement. Write something about what you have already discussed. Having discussed the prospects at individual level, now let us discuss the prospects at societal level. So write something about what you have already written and write something about what you are going to write. That's the connecting statement. This is how the coherence has to be ensured. यहाँ तक clear हुआ? But let us suppose दो ऐसे हैं तो हर बार एक चीज तो नहीं लिखेंगे. Another way of doing it is subheadings. For example, किसी चीज का introduction या current situation बतानी है. Can I give the subheading setting the stage, the current situation? कर सकते? Or charting a path forward. Instead of writing way forward, can I write charting a path forward? Did you get the point? All that glitter is not gold. Uncovering the silver lining. वो एक statement है ना, silver lining in dark cloud. That no matter how dismal the situation is, there is a hope. So instead of writing silver lining in dark cloud, can I write uncovering the silver lining? Or finding hope in adversity? Can we prepare these subheadings beforehand? Yes, you should. It always works in your favor. For example, let us suppose you are preparing a topic on media. Let us suppose ये आपने quotations पढ़ी हैं, with great power comes great responsibility. Pen is mightier than sword. Whoever controls the mind controls the media. ये सारी quotation पढ़ी हैं. Can I use these quotations to create subheadings? See, मीडियाज रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी आपको डिस्कस करना था. आपने आगे हेडिंग क्या डाली? विद ग्रेट पावर कम्स ग्रेट रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. आपको पावर ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन की बात करनी थी. द पेन इज माइटियर देन स्वॉर्ड. आपको बात करनी थी बायसेस एंड रिप्रेजेंटेशन की. चैलेंजेस इन मीडिया, हाउ इट इज बायस्ड. कैन वी टॉक अबाउट हुएवर कंट्रोल्स द मीडिया कंट्रोल्स द माइंड. तो जो कोटेशंस आपने पढ़ी हैं, दैट कैन ऑल्सो बी यूज्ड इन ऑर्डर टू प्रिपेयर द सब हेडिंग्स. So now whatever quotation you are preparing, give yourself 2 minutes and think, can I use this quotation as a subheading? And trust me, it works for you. Is that very clear? और कोई बहुत ज़्यादा तैयारी नहीं करनी है. 5-6 टॉपिक्स तो पढ़ के जाओगे ही ना यार. विमेन पढ़ोगे ही, मीडिया पढ़ोगे ही, इन्वायरमेंट पढ़ोगे ही, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस पढ़ोगे, सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट पढ़ोगे, हेल्थ एजुकेशन पढ़ोगे, उनसे रिलेटेड 2-4 सब हेडिंग्स तैयार कर लो. इज दैट वेरी क्लियर फॉर एवरीवन? ठीक. फॉर एग्जाम्पल हमें पता है विमेन उनका फेवरेट टॉपिक है. एवरी ऑल्टरनेटिव ईयर यू डू गेट अ टॉपिक, और ऐसे नहीं आया तो क्वेश्चन तो आ ही जाता है. इस बार तो हर पेपर में था. ठीक है, तो ऐसा तो है नहीं कि अगर आपने ये सब हेडिंग्स तैयार करी है, नहीं नहीं मैंने ऐसे के लिए करी है, इनको मैं सोसाइटी और एथिक्स में यूज नहीं कर सकती. कर ले भाई. सो द पॉइंट हियर इज, कैन वी यूज दिस? कोटिंग द पास्ट, विजडम फ्रॉम इन्फ्लुएंशियल वुमेन, जब आपको उनके एग्जाम्पल्स देने हैं. ओवरकमिंग एडवर्सिटी, नेवरदीलेस शी परसिस्टेड. Can we give examples of the women who amidst the adversity have endured and have been very successful? For example, Arunima Sinha, the first female amputee to climb Mount Everest. Can we give the example? Overcoming adversity, nevertheless she persisted. Did you get the point? ठीक है. So are you understanding that how it should be written? Or in the concluding remark, unstoppable force of women. Prepare 4-5 subheadings when you know women is an important topic. If not, essay questions will be asked. Is that clear? But in ethics paper, largely it is the values. Wisdom, courage, integrity. ठीक है. Can we prepare कि अगर wisdom पे कोई topic आता है related, can this be the structure? Quest for wisdom, defining wisdom beyond knowledge, wisdom across the ages, lessons from the past. Give all your examples here. Then cultivating wisdom, कैसे wisdom develop करना है, challenges to the wisdom, and finally lifelong pursuit of wisdom. Can this become the entire structure? Can this be the subheadings which can be used? ठीक है, prepare. But let us suppose ये नहीं हो पा रहा. ठीक है, बहुत common है, नहीं होता. ठीक, तो अब जब ये नहीं हो पा रहा तो disaster management आना चाहिए. देख यार, I will try to tell you what should be done. बट नहीं हो रहा तो फिर क्या करें? तो easiest way होता है, whatever is your topic that you are discussing, जिसके कॉन्टेक्स्ट में डिस्कस कर रहे हो उसको कोलन के इस तरफ लिख रहे हो, और उस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में जो डिस्कस कर रहे हो उसको कोलन के उस तरफ लिख दो. Did you get the point? Okay, I'll give you an example. ये गर्ल वाला जो टॉपिक नहीं था, that girls are weighed down, तो किस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में डिस्कस कर रहे थे हम? गर्ल्स के, that they are being weighed down by the restriction. अब कंटेंट डिस्कस करना है. What kind of restriction? Impact of restriction. तो जिसके रिस्पेक्ट में कर रहे हो उसको कोलन के इस तरफ लिखो, और जो डिस्कस कर रहे हो उसको कोलन के उस तरफ लिखो. That is how subheadings can be prepared. For example, there was a topic that thought without action is blind and action without thought is empty. Action, कहीं लिखो, action without thought is empty and thought without action is blind. क्लियर है? चलो, ये तो टॉपिक था. इसमें कितने पार्ट्स हैं? 2 पार्ट्स हैं. वन इज एक्शन विदाउट थॉट एंड थॉट विदाउट एक्शन. तो किस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में आप पहला पार्ट डिस्कस कर रहे हो? एक्शन विदाउट थॉट. और क्या डिस्कस करना है? दैट इट इज, डिड यू गेट द पॉइंट? जिस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में डिस्कस करें उसे कोलन के इस तरफ लिखो, और जो डिस्कस करना है उसको कोलन के उस तरफ लिखो. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, ग्लोबलाइजेशन इसके कॉन्टेक्स्ट में डिस्कस करना था, और ये डिस्कस करना है कि इट हैज बोथ अपॉर्चुनिटीज ऑल्सो एंड चैलेंजेस ऑल्सो. कैन आई राइट? किसके कॉन्टेक्स्ट में डिस्कस कर रहे हैं? ग्लोबलाइजेशन. और क्या डिस्कस कर रहे हैं? अपॉर्चुनिटीज एंड चैलेंजेस. कंटेंट. तो कॉन्टेक्स्ट कोलन के इस तरफ लिखो, कंटेंट को कोलन के उस तरफ लिखो, सब हेडिंग तैयार हो जाती है. करके देख लेना. इट्स अ वेरी फन एक्सरसाइज. जो टॉपिक हो उसको इस तरह से बनाने की कोशिश करो. ऑन द स्पॉट आपसे सब हेडिंग्स बन जाएंगी. That's a standard way of doing it. करके देखना. It works. Is that very clear for everyone? Now, is the coherence, flow, continuity, that problem is solved? Can I proceed further? The next thing that we have to discuss is writing skill, language competence, and time management. I'll discuss all the three topics together. First thing about the writing skill that you have to keep in mind, which I have already talked about, is small statements. And through these small statements, we are going to talk about small paras. That's the first thing. Another aspect about writing skill is the tone of the essay needs to be formal. It has to be a formal tone. Second most important thing, you cannot use abbreviations and acronyms. For example, you cannot use known as. You cannot use that is. It's not allowed. You cannot write without. So acronyms and abbreviations are not supposed to be used. Is that very clear? It's a formal paper. The person who's correcting is 65-year-old person. Let's not make the job difficult. Okay? Please explain everything that you are writing in your essay. Is it making sense for everyone? Next important aspect, please don't be worried about if you do not have good English, as in vocabulary wise, it is not a very profound English. Absolutely no issues. अब basic newspaper reading करते हैं, NCRTs पढ़ते हैं. NCRT type of language is more than enough to be written in the essay. In fact, if you ask me, your content should be rich. Your language should be correct. We don't expect a very rich language. If that is your forte, good enough. But in case that is not your forte, please don't waste your time on that. Is that very clear for everyone? Most importantly, handwriting should be legible. कोई मुझसे आके ये नहीं बोलेगा कि मैम टीना दाबी जैसी हैंडराइटिंग कैसे होगी. देख, जो नहीं हो सकता वो नहीं हो सकता. 21 साल तक जो नहीं हुआ वो अब भी नहीं होगा. ठीक है. So let's not waste our time on something which is beyond our scope. But make sure your handwriting is legible. Is that clear? ठीक है. Second important aspect is please underline all the important terms so that you can draw the attention of the person who's reading your script. So whatever you are writing, please underline important terms. लेकिन यहाँ पे भी एक disclaimer देना पड़ता है. Not more than 5-6 highlighted words. नहीं तो फिर कभी कभी आप पूरा स्क्रिप्ट अंडरलाइन कर देते हो, तब ये ढूंढना पड़ता है व्हाट इज नॉट अंडरलाइंड. ठीक है. सो एट मैक्स 5 to 6 वर्ड्स ऑन वन सिंगल साइड नीड्स टू बी हाईलाइटेड. कैन यू मेक बॉक्सेस? यस. जब सब हेडिंग्स लिखते हैं तो इनबॉक्स करना, इट ऑलवेज वर्क्स. सो कैन यू इनबॉक्स द इंपॉर्टेंट टर्म्स? यस, यू कैन डू दैट एज वेल. कैन वी राइट बुलेट पॉइंट्स? नो. Bullet points is an absolute no. It has to be written in the paragraphs. अगर सपोज करो पैराग्राफ में ही पॉइंटर्स डालने हैं, A, B, C, write it like this, but do not write in bullet points. Can we make diagrams and flow charts? See, I would prefer not to make it. Because जब हम बोल देते हैं ना कि बना सकते हैं, then many a times we don't have that kind of wisdom to differentiate कि कहाँ बनाएं और कहाँ नहीं बनाएं. So if you ask me, I will say refrain from making any kind of flowcharts and diagrams. The purpose of essay writing gets defeated. Let's keep it for the GS and optional answer writing, but not for essay. Don't make any diagrams or flowchart, not even maps, not required. Is that very clear for everyone? Is it making sense for everyone? In order to draw the attention, let us suppose you are doing a cursive handwriting, socially, so and so, but all of a sudden you want to hold the attention of the examiner, you can change the font of your writing. For example, you can write it like, आप bold letters लिख सकते हो बीच बीच में, या फिर you can use 2 color pens. Use whatever way you are comfortable. Just hold the attention of the person who's reading. आप 2 कलर पेन यूज करो, आप हाईलाइट करो, आप इनबॉक्स करो, आप चेंज करो फॉन्ट साइज, whatever you want to do and you have to do, please do it. But hold the attention of the person who's correcting your script. Is it making sense? सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज, हाईलाइट करना, इनबॉक्स करना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, बट मेक श्योर स्पेलिंग एरर्स आर नॉट देयर. बहुत बार हम अंडरलाइन करते हैं उसी को जहाँ पे स्पेलिंग गलत लिखी होती है. तो इन चीज़ों का बहुत ध्यान रखना है कि अटेंशन नहीं भी जा रहा हो तो भी चला जाता है कि यहाँ पे आपने कचड़ा कर दिया. ठीक है, अब एक सिंपल सी बात है यार, देख ऐसे तो फर्क नहीं पड़ता, एक आध स्पेलिंग एरर्स हो जाते हैं, बट खुद सोचो ना, कल को जिसको आईएएस बनना है उसके एक पेज पे 4 से 5 स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक्स हैं, 2 से 3 ग्रामेटिकल एरर्स हैं. वो बताओ, वो क्या तो एप्लीकेशन लिखेगा, क्या तो वो पॉलिसी बनाएगा. ठीक है, आर यू अंडरस्टैंड, क्या तो वो नोटिंग करेगा फाइल पे. So are you understanding what we are trying to say? They don't expect a very jargonized or a very profound vocabulary. They just expect don't make spelling errors, don't make grammatical errors, and avoid any kind of scribbling or cutting. बहुत annoying होता है. ठीक है, थोड़ा सा पहले से तैयारी करके जाओ. जो रफ पेज आपको मिलता है उस पर लिख के देख लो. एटलीस्ट इंट्रोडक्शन और कंक्लूजन में तो कटिंग मत करो, नहीं तो पता चला पहला पेज पढ़ना उसी में 4 कटिंग कर रखी है आपने. So it is very disappointing for the person who's correcting the script. उससे ये पता चलता है that you did not have the clarity of thought, what to be written and how to be written. That is why you have made so many scribbling and so many cutting in your script. Is that very clear for everyone? Is it making sense for everyone? कोई doubt नहीं है यहाँ तक? हाँ जी. See, the point here is that is not how the formal essay is written. अगर हम एसेज की बात करते हैं तो इट इज नेवर एवर रिटन इन बुलेट पॉइंट्स. So often we have noticed that what has worked for the aspirants is at least UPSC has not given us any code of conduct. ठीक है, हमें कैसे आइडिया लगता है through the benchmarks that how the previous toppers have written. We have noticed one thing, that although in mocks they were making the diagrams and flowchart, but when we spoke with them, they never made any flowchart and diagram in the mains examination. Although they might be writing bullets here, but when we spoke to them, they never used bullet points in the mains examination. The formal essence of the essay gets diluted. That is why we refrain from writing in bullet points. Clear hai? Now comes the most important point, that is time management as far as this is concerned. See, ऐसे तो आपका time है, you need to know how to manage it. But if you ask me and I have to spend 90 minutes on one essay, I will choose 5 minutes for topic selection. I'll give 20 minutes to brainstorming. और ये मैंने अक्सर नोटिस किया है कि मैं बोलती ज़रूर हूँ 20 मिनट्स, लेकिन स्टूडेंट्स कभी 20 मिनट्स यूज़ नहीं करते. उन्हें लगता है 10 मिनट में ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग हो गई, क्यों टाइम खराब करना. लेकिन अगर ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग में आपने ठीक से टाइम इन्वेस्ट नहीं किया, उतना ही चैलेंजिंग हो जाता है ऐसे को लिखना. राइटिंग 1200 वर्ड्स इज नॉट अ चैलेंज इफ यू हैव अ क्लैरिटी ऑफ thought. So it's a suggestion. Try to invest 15 to 20 minutes in your brainstorming. Approximately 60 minutes is for writing and 5 minutes buffer कह लो या overall revision कह लो, whatever it is. Usually time management looks like this, but in reality it is far away from this. कभी कभी होता है टॉपिक चूज करने में 10 मिनट लग जाते हैं. कभी कभी होता है ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग में ज्यादा टाइम लग गया एंड यू आर लेफ्ट विद जस्ट 40-45 मिनट्स टू राइट द एसे. सो ऑन द स्पॉट क्या होगा, यू हैव टू बी प्रिपेयर्ड. बट वन पीस ऑफ एडवाइस, वंस यू हैव लर्नड हाउ टू राइट एसेज, प्लीज एवरी टाइम राइट 2 एसेज एट अ टाइम. इट्स अ सजेशन. अगर एक ही ऐसे लिखने की प्रैक्टिस करोगे ना तो एग्जाम में 2 ऐसे लिखना बहुत चैलेंजिंग हो जाएगा. सो व्हेनेवर यू आर प्रैक्टिसिंग, ऑलवेज प्रैक्टिस राइटिंग 2 एसेज एट अ गिवन टाइम. Is it making sense for everyone? ठीक है, यहां तक के जो भी डाउट्स थे, are they getting resolved? ठीक. Now, हाँ जी, बफर है यार, मतलब एक ग्लांस करना कि कुछ अंडरलाइन करना रह गया है, कुछ हाईलाइट करना रह गया है, बस वो. नेक्स्ट, now we'll talk about how to write the essay. There are 3 stages in writing the essay. The first is topic selection, which we have already talked about. Second is brainstorming, and finally writing a good, decent essay. brainstorming is the most important exercise which we don't do. Okay? So let's learn how to do the brainstorming. Write a topic. And don't look at the screen. Just write the topic. A ship in harbor is safe, but that is not what ship is for. Write down the topic. A ship in harbor is safe, but that is not what ship is for. Let's learn what is brainstorming and how to make the essay multi-dimensional. Forget about you are UPSC aspirant. Forget about you are preparing for essay. I have just given a statement to you. Let's just discuss. What are the questions which comes to your mind the moment you read the statement? Write down 6 to 7 questions. और वो कुछ भी हो सकता है. वो ये भी हो सकता है what is ship. वो कुछ भी हो सकता है. मतलब forget about कि UPSC aspirant हो. कुछ नहीं. एक statement दिया है. मुझे वो questions लिखकर दिखाओ which comes to your mind the moment you read the statement. Anyone who wants to tell me what question came to their mind the moment they read the statement? Anyone? Raise the hand and just answer. Nobody is judging. Just participate. Hanji. Why ship is safe in the harbor? Very valid point. What else? अच्छा, जिसने ये point नहीं लिखा वो लिख भी सकता है. Why ship is safe in the harbor? That's one of the question. Hanji. Okay. How? What? Or can I say that what is the manifestation of ship in this metaphor? That how you can interpret ship in the different domains? That can be a possible point. Hanji. हाँ, बोलो, बोलो. Very good. हाँ. What is the I'll just read it out for the online students. What is the basic essence of ship? What is the purpose? ठीक है. हाँ. हाँ, ठीक है. Okay. Who commands the ship? Who will decide whether it will sail in the sea or not? Very good. हाँ. 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 ठीक है. ठीक है. Okay. हाँ. What happens if the ship remains in the harbor and chooses not to sail in the sea? हाँ. Okay. What if it sails in the sea, but it doesn't reach the destination? It can be accident, sinking, whatsoever. हाँ. हाँ, बिल्कुल. हाँ, ठीक है. Absolutely brilliant. हाँ. Okay, just hold. Everything is absolutely fine. I really liked the brainstorming. Just add one domain if you agree to it. That not always is the time for the ship to sail in the sea. So you should have the wisdom to decide that how the calculated risks are supposed to be taken. जैसे हमने बोल दिया one should take risk. अब हर कोई रिस्क लेने बैठ गया and every time they are failing, because you should have the wisdom to differentiate what kind of risk should be taken and what should not be taken. तो एक वो extra dimension before the conclusion can be added. That's how the brainstorming is done. Now just hold. Do we realize कि socio-political economic is not multidimensionality? Multidimensionality is added through the questions that you prepare, and within that question you can add what is known as socio-political, cultural. वो अभी हम discuss कर लेंगे. But did you understand the brainstorming he put forward? Is it मतलब everyone more or less agreeing to it? Somebody else wants to contribute? Anyone can do that. It's your essay. हाँ बोलो बोलो. हाँ. Absolutely. Why one should venture and what drives a person to let their ship sail in the sea. Brilliant. What else? What? Absolutely. Absolutely. Why it needs to be prioritized. Only then growth or progress would happen in life. Otherwise, there would be status quoism, stagnancy. Life unexamined is not worth living. So one should move ahead. Absolutely correct. What else? हाँ ठीक है, एब्सोल्यूट. हाँ बिल्कुल बिल्कुल कि हर जगह यू डोंट हैव टू सेल, यू शुड रिमेन विद इन द हाँ डोमेन. हाँ
मैम, व्हाट इट कैन डू व्हेन इट इज आउटसाइड हार्बर.
हाँ ठीक है ठीक है. हाँ, so what is the purpose of the ship, to be very precise, and what happens when it ventures into the sea? What all possibilities can be explored when it sails into the sea? We'll take that point. हाँ जी.
If the ship is not doing what it is intended of.
Absolutely, yes. There is a purpose of a ship, and if it is not sailing in the sea, the purpose is getting defeated. If you want so much of stability, you should have constructed a fortress rather than building a ship. Ship का तो मतलब ही होता है that you have to brave the waves, you have to fight the tides, and you have to reach the destination. Absolutely correct. We'll take the point. Absolutely. हाँ ये कर सकते हैं. इंडिविजुअल लेवल, सोसाइटल लेवल, नेशनल लेवल. दैट हु डिसाइड्स द डायरेक्शन इन विच द शिप शुड सेल. ये थोड़ा सा टंग ट्विस्टर हो रहा है. सो बट एनीवे द पॉइंट इज एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट. सो आर वी अंडरस्टैंडिंग दैट हाउ वी आर प्रोसीडिंग? आर यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग व्हाट इज ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग? ठीक है, एक और करें. ठीक, राइट. नॉट ऑल हु वॉन्डर आर लॉस्ट इस साल का टॉपिक है. नॉट ऑल हु वॉन्डर आर लॉस्ट. Not all who wander are lost. This year's topic. Again, 5 minutes. Make the questions. See, just one disclaimer. Don't worry. Don't get scared while you are brainstorming. Nobody is asking you the answers to those questions. That's the first stage. Ask as many questions. तभी तो दिमाग खुलेगा कि in what direction you should explore the topic. Yeah. Anyone who wants to give the input? Yeah. Okay. Why the wanderers are the ones, or who are those wanderers who get lost, and who are those wanderers who don't get lost, and why? Let us put it this way. Okay? Anything else?
Ma'am, purpose of wandering,
Purpose of wandering?
and do wandering leads to achieve anything,
Huh?
and what leads to wandering?
What leads to wandering? Okay, my one question. Can I start with what is wandering? Okay? Then it becomes more easy. What do you mean by this wandering? Okay? Why or what is the purpose served by wandering? Or does it lead to achievement, or people do get lost in that process? Okay? हाँ 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 बिल्कुल बिल्कुल
So the first one is who is a wanderer.
ठीक है.
The second one is what is the criteria to be termed as lost.
Okay, ठीक है.
Third one is does wanderer, when we say he is being lost in something,
हाँ
is it just the tip of the iceberg?
हाँ
Like suppose when APJ Abdul Kalam,
हाँ
he was so much into his scientific innovations
हाँ
that he forgot to marry.
हाँ
So we can say that he
हाँ
was actually lost in his purpose.
हाँ ठीक है.
So I'm relating it to that point.
ठीक है.
The next one is richness of life.
Hmm.
Life is so diverse and it flows into so many directions that if you try to delve into it, it is so unknown that it will be called as being lost because of the diversity it
Okay.
possesses.
Okay.
Then the next is world is full of opportunity. So let's get lost into each.
The opportunity and explore that.
Yeah.
ठीक है.
And the next one is so wandering overall, but when you are into it deeply, so on the surface, like we say he is a wanderer, but he knows deep inside himself that he is actually lost into something which he is inclined towards.
Okay.
Then his propensity towards something. And then we can take an example of Gautam Buddha because he was a
It
wanderer.
was a
before.
purposeful wandering. हाँ
Yes.
ठीक है. हाँ
And then it was the contribution of people who have lost themselves in the purpose.
Okay.
Like addition is there, so many.
This time I would like to add here that this purpose of entire brainstorming would have been easier if your first question was, what do you mean by a wanderer and what does it mean to get lost? If you have understood what is wandering and if you understand what is the meaning of being lost, then subsequent questions automatically will start falling in place. But I would just add one thing to his point again, that whenever you write essays, there you have to learn one thing. Just before concluding, you have to give a counter argument. क्योंकि topic कह रहा है not all who wander are lost. And in the entire essay, we are agreeing to this statement also, that when you wander, that does not mean that you are lost. Sometimes it leads to that you find your own self, you embrace innovation, there is non-conformity, you might find your spiritual self, or you might find the different facet of your personality. Okay? So there can be different things which can happen when wandering takes place. But sometimes wanderers do get lost. For example, refugees. For example, the sufferers of any war or conflict. For example, those who are wandering in the unethical zone. Drugs, delinquencies, dark net. Did you get my point? Is it get Hanji?
By saying that refugees do get lost,
Huh.
does it mean that wanderers are by choice or they are forced upon?
That can be anything. That can be anything. You are just taking a path which is not predetermined. So wanderers, sometimes it is purposeful, sometimes it can be circumstantial. That also depends. Okay? And sometimes you want to wander without even knowing the purpose. So sometimes you end up finding a purpose, but sometimes you might deviate into unethical zone. So that time you always have to make sure that your wandering should have a moral essence to it. Otherwise, falling into the undesirable zone is also very high. So that might be one of the perspective.
In case of, for example, in case of refugees,
हाँ,
it's their need to wander.
हाँ,
So
हाँ,
they are not wandering purposefully. So that's
हाँ, absolutely. It is circumstantial. हाँ,
Ma'am, we can also add the spiritual dimension to it. Like even though we are not physically wandering,
हाँ,
but we can be lost in our thoughts.
absolutely,
Then ma'am,
absolutely.
we can also write about like going philosophically
हाँ.
or and through spiritually dimensions. In that we can talk about like those who seem to be lost are not necessarily lost.
हाँ,
And we can also question who judges the path,
हाँ.
who
determines the path?
whether one
हाँ.
is lost,
हाँ.
who determines the trail or the path which is correct.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
And then we can
बिल्कुल
explain.
बिल्कुल कर सकते हैं. See, do you realize that the topic was same, but different people are approaching the topic in a different manner, remaining within the contextual realm of the topic? This is how the newness or the originality or the creativity is added to your essay. Next time, don't ask, please suggest a book. Book is not required. Do you realize the creativity that you guys are offering? Do you understand the first stage is you select the topic? Once you select the topic, please do the brainstorming. Brainstorming is deconstructing of the topic through different questions. Now hold. The third exercise. Whatever questions you are creating, just number them. हाँ जी बोलो. हाँ. 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 Absolutely. And prescribe. We'll discuss what to be written, but prescribe matlab just suggest what kind of wandering is preferable. बस. And then you can prescribe. ठीक है? और बिल्कुल लिखना है, प्रिस्क्रिप्शन देना है, नहीं तो फिर क्या पर्पस है ऐसे को डिस्कस करने का इफ यू आर नॉट गिविंग द प्रिस्क्रिप्शन. नाउ जस्ट वन स्मॉल असाइनमेंट. जो भी आपने क्वेश्चंस बनाए हैं, वट एवर इज योर ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग, जस्ट नंबर देम. विच वन यू विल आंसर फर्स्ट, विच वन सेकेंड, थर्ड, पढ़ के नंबरिंग करो. And you will realize your structure of the essay is prepared.
Ma'am,
हाँ जी.
ma'am, there are also some people who are rejected from the society and families, and they also wander
हाँ.
and they are lost.
हाँ.
This will be the counter argument.
बिल्कुल कर सकते हैं. बिल्कुल. Absolutely you can do that. हाँ. They are detached from the materialistic world कह लो, या the social practices which are existing in the society. Their expectations are not met, so they deviate. हाँ, बिल्कुल. Anything else? हाँ, ट्रैवलर्स. हाँ, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, एब्सोल्युटली. और कभी कभी होता है ना दैट यू आर वॉन्डरिंग एंड यू डिस्कवर समथिंग न्यू इन दैट. सो नॉट ऑल हु वॉन्डर आर लॉस्ट. ठीक है? सो कोलंबस फॉर दैट मैटर. सो यू हैव मैनी. बिल्कुल लिख सकते हैं. यस, एब्सोल्युटली. एनीथिंग एल्स? हाँ, absolutely. 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 Now see what happens. You guys are, one is giving me a spiritual domain. One is talking about, let us say, refugee issues. Some people are talking about the detachment. Some people are talking about the historical evolution. Now, this is what adds the multidimensional examples to your essay. But uske liye ek question तैयार होना चाहिए, and that you do in your brainstorming exercise. You prepare the question. What leads to wandering? And now whatever you have mentioned, that becomes the answer to this question, which is multidimensional in nature. Did you get my point? अब समझ आया. लेकिन कभी भी, अच्छा एक छोटी सी चीज बताती हूँ. सब एक सेकेंड, let's just discuss first thing. Do we realize कि suppose करो इसने बोला historical evolution, इसने बोला एक refugee issue या detachment from the society. If you are thinking only on the basis of examples, structuring the essay becomes a challenge. But if you think about the topic through question, and then you are adding these examples while answering those questions, automatically the essay becomes structured. तो जब भी brainstorming करोगे, brainstorming would be done through questions, and how those question needs to be answered has to be done through examples. Is it making sense for everyone? Is it clear for everyone? ठीक है. Do we understand the moment you prepare 6 to 7 questions and you number them, the chronology in your essay is established? ये पहले डिस्कस करेंगे, फिर ये करेंगे, फिर ये करेंगे, फिर ये करेंगे. Is the chronology visible in the essay? Are we getting the point? Is it making sense for everyone? ठीक है. So एक question और लिखो. हाँ यार, कुछ भी देखो, अभी भी आप लोग मेरा मुद्दा नहीं समझ रहे हो. मुद्दा एग्जाम्पल है ही नहीं, वो तो खुद ब खुद आ जाएगा। तुम्हारा सोशियोलॉजी है, किसी का PSIR होगा, किसी का फिजिक्स होगा, कहीं भी एग्जाम्पल तो मुद्दा ही नहीं है। मुद्दा है पहले ब्रॉड क्वेश्चन तो फॉर्म करो। एक मार्क्स के एग्जाम्पल से कितना ऐसे खींच लोगे? नहीं, वो भी नहीं होगा, मुश्किल से 50 वर्ड। एक मार्क्स का एग्जाम्पल या किसी भी सोशियोलॉजिस्ट का एग्जाम्पल आप अगर उठाते हो मैक्सिमम 50 से 60 वर्ड्स, 1200 वर्ड का ऐसे है यार। मैं बार बार यही सिखाना चाह रही हूं, एग्जाम्पल से ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग नहीं होती, क्वेश्चंस और डायमेंशन से ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग होती है, उसमें एग्जाम्पल डाले जाते हैं। अगर एग्जाम्पल से ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग करोगे तो फिर घूम फिर के स्ट्रक्चर ऐसे में नहीं दिखेगा, फिर वो लिखोगे जो दिमाग में आ रहा है। ये एग्जाम्पल आ रहा है, ये लिख दिया, वो आ रहा है, वो लिख दिया। लोग समझते ही नहीं है 15-20 मिनट की ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग किसे कहते हैं। उन्हें लगता है इतना समय कौन देगा। एक एग्जाम्पल, एक अच्छा सा एनेक्डोट सोचते हैं और फिर ऐसे लिखना शुरू कर देते हैं। ये नहीं समझते कि एनेक्डोट से क्या 20 नंबर, 25 नंबर, उसके बाद। डिड वी गेट द पॉइंट? ठीक है, चलो नेक्स्ट एक टॉपिक और लिखो। एजुकेशन इज व्हाट रिमेन्स आफ्टर वन हैज फॉरगॉटन। एजुकेशन इज व्हाट रिमेन्स after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. What one has learned in school. Very quickly, 5 minutes. I gave this topic because I wanted to show whether philosophical essay or issue-based essay, brainstorming exercise remains the same. Anyone wants to contribute? What's education? Or let's put it, what's true education? One by one. So I'll take first question. What is the nature of true education? What is the essence of true education? We'll take that point. Anyone else?
Significance of children schooling in the moral building.
Significance of?
Child schooling in the
moral fabric.
Yes.
ठीक है. Anything else? Purpose of education. What is true education? What is the purpose of education? Agency of education. Education is not what only you receive in the school. It goes beyond the classroom learning. Who can be the possible agents of education? What else?
Ma'am.
Role of school in education, or what kind of education should be provided by the school or is provided by the school?
Ma'am.
Education system in the school versus college.
Okay. Institution or agency of education. I'll take that point. Fine. Anything else?
Ma'am, what we learn from school, ma'am, what we learn from a school, practical application and rote learning.
Brilliant.
Ma'am, how education and experience both are interconnected.
Okay. Education as? Lifelong learning versus school education. We'll take this point. Absolutely, yes. Different between learning and education, or how comprehensive holistic education is one of which an important component can be learning. ठीक है. Anything else? Exactly. अब मुद्दे पे आए हैं. That why it is that we tend to forget what we have learnt in school and what we forget that we learn in school. See, read the topic again. Education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. You need to focus on that what elements of learning you forget and why. And hence what should be focused in the school learning, which will tend to stay with you for a longer period of time. I'll give you a basic example. Let us suppose you were studying law. You were preparing to be a lawyer. And in your college, you forgot the basic specific case laws which might have been taught to you in your college level. But once you become a lawyer, what tends to stay with you is the preparation which goes into preparing for the case. Critical thinking, looking beyond what is obvious, reading between the lines. Are you getting? The critical thinking, the vocational training, the emotional intelligence, the value system is something which tends to stay with you, and that's the essence of real education. What you might forget is historical events, but what you will never forget is how to analyze a historical event. You might forget what was the exact finding of the research. What you can never forget is how to conduct a research. But the problem is focus is so much on rote learning and the academic performance that actual what goes into building a true education has been compromised at various levels. For example, the critical thinking is never being encouraged. The inquisitive nature of the student is never being encouraged. You can't ask questions. You've been told this is how things have to be prepared. तो पढ़ना कैसे? जैसे एक छोटी सी बात है. Don't take it otherwise. I'm generally saying that when we come for UPSC preparation, the first class that we conduct is how to read a newspaper. 21-year-old person is being taught how to read a newspaper when your voting rights is at the age of 18. Did you get my point? Imagine what we are studying today, how to write an essay. That should have been taught in school. बट हमको इतना रटने की आदत हो गई है कि अभी भी यही होगा कि कितना भी लॉन्ग सेशन में ये कंडक्ट कर लूं, बाद में आके यही पूछेंगे मैम कोई किताब है जहां मॉडल एसेज मिल जाए. सो द पॉइंट हियर इज क्योंकि आदत है कि अगर कुछ देखा हुआ होगा तो कर देंगे, खुद से इनोवेट करना, और इसमें हमारी गलती नहीं है. वी हैव नॉट बीन टोल्ड हाउ टू innovate. We have not been told how to look beyond the obvious. और ये सब जो होता है ना, that stays with you for a very longer period of time. Is that very clear? हाँ जी.
I have around 25 questions. So 8 dimensions and 4, 5 to each.
Okay.
So the
Just
first
tell
one,
us the broad dimension.
yeah.
हाँ.
The first one is what is education?
हाँ.
Can you do it on your own? Is it always from the school? Why is it important? What are the ways? Is it doing well right now? And development of education from past to today. These were the minor topics of what is education. So the basic broad headline is what is education, which you are asking.
But the point here is, if it is not the major component, we will not delve into it. Otherwise, for first 2-3 pages, you are writing something which is not the main content of the topic. Okay. So examiner might think that you have digressed from the topic, which you haven't.
Yeah.
But you have taken too much time to come to the main essence of the topic. Now come to the main essence.
So what is education? What is learning? Then the social and spiritual angle of learning. Education and learning are different things. Yeah. Why should we learn? What happens if we do not? Moral consciousness, impact of education and learning. So the third one is, why did we forget in the first place? The third dimension. Where does education have an impact on society or personality? Then is its dimensions with respect to wisdom, rationality, then growth of society, like how learning like passed from Socrates to Aristotle, and the dimensions of the political development, social, and actually ethics was started by Socrates. So that way it was a learning. Then the negative connotation, the today education. Then is it correct? And then education, is it always about success? Education means versus end.
Now just hold. The entire essay that we are talking about, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but we are hovering around the value-based education. Okay? But that's not the topic. That is one of the dimension of the topic. तभी मैं कहती हूँ, go back to the question which is being asked. And then when you are brainstorming, just understand, education is what remains which one has forgotten. That forgotten component is missing.
Okay.
We are focusing only on the value-based the ethical component, how society shapes it, or how ethical education is shaping or impacting the society. That is why अभी भी क्या हो रहा है यार, इतने सारे questions के चक्कर में अभी भी main essence of the topic has not been reached. Let us suppose what you've written. ऐसे में कुछ भी right or wrong नहीं होता. ऐसे में you can prove everything that you've written is connected to the topic. But if we are taking too much time to come to the main essence of the topic, maybe the person who is reading loses the interest. That has to be kept in mind.
So when I said why did we forget it in the first place?
हाँ.
So whatever we learned we forgot.
हाँ,
why
but
did
we are
forget?
only focusing on the value component.
Okay.
You're talking about the ethics.
No, I'm talking about the reason behind the like we forgot it. What is the reason that we forgot it? Why is it not there like forever with us?
हाँ, ठीक है, ये point ठीक है. This is there. हाँ, but क्या भूलने का बात करें, उसमें सारी dimensions cover कर लेना.
तो ये तो मैम थर्ड लाइन ही था ना,
हाँ,
थर्ड
ठीक
पॉइंट
है,
था.
ठीक है, ठीक है. आगे.
नहीं हो.
अच्छा, ठीक है, ठीक है. See, when we are talking about, अच्छा एक और चीज है. Since he has asked that question, why we tend to forget? Why we tend to forget? Rote learning, ठीक है. एक point और. क्वालिटी एजुकेशन नहीं है इसलिए भूल जाते हैं. एग्जैक्टली प्रैक्टिकल एप्लीकेशन नहीं है. जब किसी चीज का टेक्स्ट और कॉन्टेक्स्ट में सिंक नहीं होता, प्रैक्टिकल एप्लीकेशन नहीं होता, देन द टेंडेंसी टू फॉरगेट समथिंग इज वेरी हाई. इज दैट वेरी क्लियर फॉर एवरीवन? ठीक है. नाउ यू जस्ट नीड टू टेल मी, डिड यू अंडरस्टैंड द स्किल ऑफ ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग? कैन यू ट्राई डूइंग दैट? ठीक है. लेट्स कम बैक टू द एसे पार्ट अगेन. There are three components of the essay that we are going to now talk about. Finally, how to write the essay. There are three components to it: introduction, body, and conclusion. Introduction. Tell them what you are going to tell them. Body, tell them. And conclusion. Based on what you have told them, provide an optimistic, futuristic vision. Just read these three things again. And tell me, did you understand? There are three components. Finally, we are discussing how to write the essay. There are three components of essay writing. You have an introduction, you have a body, you have a conclusion. Introduction. Tell them what you are going to tell them. And why do I say that? Anecdotes, quotation, poems, conversations, they are not the introduction. They are just like the icing on the cake. They are just there to make your introduction captivating. They are not the introduction. Introduction is when you give an insight to the reader what they can expect from your essay. That is introduction. Is that very clear for everyone? ठीक है. So introduction is tell them what you are going to tell them. So if this is my introduction, hands down, introduction will have three components to it. And there is no doubt about it. There will be the first, second, and third. The first component is either the anecdote, or it is a quote, or it is the poem, or it can be a conversation, or it can be a paradox, or it can be a data, report, anything which can help to justify your introduction, the topic which is being asked is constituting the first part of your introduction. तो introduction में कितने parts हैं? 3. और आप जो anecdote, quote, poem choose करते हो, that constitutes your first part. Then what is the second part? It is nothing but linking part 1 with the demand of the topic. And for me, this second part is indispensable. You can't just leave it. नहीं तो आपका first part will become meaningless. If you have chosen to write a very good anecdote to start your essay, but you did not link that why did you write this anecdote to explain the demand of the topic, the purpose of writing the anecdote gets defeated. So without mentioning the second part, even the first part which lose the significance. So both first and second part is absolutely important. Now comes the choice. The third part is optional. For example, third part may I tell the reader what they can expect in my essay. For example, in the context of above anecdote, I will explore the essay from following dimension. For example, what is purpose of education? What is true education? Why is it we tend to forget whatever is being taught? What we tend to forget? What needs to be ensured to guarantee a lifelong learning? All these dimensions will be explored in the essay. So in my third component of the introduction, I told the examiner what to expect in my essay. But let us suppose you thought about 6 to 7 questions. Sare mat likhne baith jana. It becomes very monotonous. Just write 2-3 broad dimensions which you are going to discuss. Don't write everything in the third component. But hold. That's a choice. Let us suppose you are not comfortable. किसी किसी को लगता है अरे मैम सब कुछ तो रिवील कर दिया, फिर क्या क्यूरोसिटी रहेगी? तो ये कर सकते हो, मतलब one by one reveal करो. That before we delve into the essay, let's first explore what is the meaning of true education. Then you discuss that. Then remember those connecting statements. Having discussed the purpose and essence of true education, let's now delve into why the components are forgotten once we leave the school. Did you get the point? Then you start. So now you are unfolding the essay one by one. That's also a choice. If you ask me, I have to write 2 essays. I'll use both these techniques. एक ऐसे में सब कुछ पहले बता दूंगी और दूसरे ऐसे में वन बाय वन आई विल अनफोल्ड सो दैट एग्जामिनर को ये नहीं लगे कि मैं टेम्पलेट तैयार करके आई हूँ. वो मैं करके आई हूँ, but I should not tell the other person that I have prepared the template. Did you get my point? And third thing is, don't do either of them. Just start writing. But उससे एक प्रॉब्लम होता है, खुद कभी कभी लिखते लिखते हम ही भूल जाते हैं कि आगे क्या लिखना था. तो ऐसी सिचुएशन में खुद के बेटरमेंट के लिए आई विल सजेस्ट दैट प्लीज मेक यूज ऑफ दिस थर्ड एस्पेक्ट. सो हाउ मेनी पार्ट्स टू द इंट्रोडक्शन? 3. फर्स्ट पार्ट anecdote, quote, poem, conversation, etc. Second part, linking it, the first part with the demand of the topic, and finally telling the examiner what you are going to write in the essay. That's the third component. यहाँ तक introduction clear हुआ? ठीक है. Now, there are few basic questions I'll very quickly answer. हाँ जी. Part 2 with part 1. Whatever anecdote that you have chosen. Okay, I'll show. I'll show that. Just give me 1 minute. Let me see. Okay. There was a topic, जो इस साल का ही topic नहीं था. Girls are weighed down by restrictions, boys with demands, two equally harmful discipline. ठीक है. See, this is how I chose to introduce. I'll read it out. Aisha is a successful entrepreneur, but she grapples with societal and familial expectation. Despite her professional success, she faces immense pressure to maintain a perfect image as a wife and daughter-in-law. Society expects her to balance her career and family while upholding the traditional values and norms. Just hold. On the other hand, we have Kabir, who is the heir to the business empire. Despite having different aspirations and dreams, he is pressured to follow the family tradition and take over the family business. अब आता है part 2. The juxtaposition of Aisha and Kabir's character in Dil Dhadakne Do demonstrates two sides of the societal pressure faced by boys and girls. Aisha embodies the restriction that limits women's freedom and choices. On the other hand, Kabir portrays the weight of demand and expectation placed on the boys. अब समझ आया कि मैंने आयशा और कबीर की स्टोरी क्यों दी थी? Can we borrow it from a movie? Yes. And this is part 2. अब समझ आता है significance of part 2. अगर ये नहीं लिखोगे तो आयशा और कबीर की कहानी क्यों बताई? How will I justify the purpose to the examiner? वो कहेगा कौन आयशा, कौन कबीर, what I have to do with it. लेकिन the moment you connect it here, first, अच्छा ये तो वो मूवी थी, और वो बगल वाले से पूछ रहा है आपने देखी थी भाई साहब ये वाली मूवी, हम लोग देख रहे थे. एंड देन यू अंडरस्टैंड कि हाँ यार बात तो सही है, बहन अच्छा कर रही थी लेकिन उसको हमेशा यही बोला गया दैट यू आर नॉट द इनहेरिटर. एंड द सन हु डिडंट वांट टू परस्यू द फैमिली बिजनेस, ही हैज बीन ड्राउन्ड बाय द एक्सपेक्टेशन. सो इट इज लाइक टू हार्मफुल डिसिप्लिन, रिस्ट्रिक्शन एंड एक्सपेक्टेशन. इज इट मेकिंग सेंस नाउ? अब आएगा थर्ड पार्ट. बिफोर डेल्विंग फर्दर, लेट अस जस्ट एक्सप्लोर. आ जाओ थर्ड पार्ट पे. जस्ट अ सेक. हाँ जी. हाँ. हाँ. एवरीथिंग शुड बी रिटन. मतलब आप कर सकते हो बिल्कुल कि फाइनली वी विल एक्सप्लोर दैट व्हाई वन शुड वॉन्डर. बस ठीक है. नाउ लेट अस सपोज दिस वाज माय ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग. Can I say the brainstorming becomes the third component of the introduction? Brainstorming ही तो आपका third component है. That before further delving, we will explore how, why, and what are the implications of girls being weighed down by restriction. Similarly, why, how, and what are the implications of boys being weighed down by the expectation. We will further look into the prospects of challenging the traditional roles in the society. And finally, we will explore what needs to be done. Is that very clear? This becomes my third component of the introduction. तो जो आपने brainstorming करी, उसका मोटे मोटे जो broad question है, हर क्वेश्चन नहीं, जो सिर्फ ब्रॉड हेडिंग्स हैं उनको उठा के थर्ड कंपोनेंट में लिख दो. एंड दिस इज हाउ द फर्स्ट 3 एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ इंट्रोडक्शन आर प्रिपेयर्ड. इज इट मेकिंग सेंस फॉर एवरीवन? इवन एट द बैक, इज इट क्लियर फॉर एवरीवन? कैन वी प्रोसीड नाउ? ठीक है. नाउ देयर आर फ्यू थिंग्स व्हिच आई वांट टू आंसर बिफोर आई प्रोसीड. एनेक्डोट्स कैसे होने चाहिए? इट कैन बी अ रियल लाइफ एनेक्डोट, इट कैन बी अ फिक्शनल एनेक्डोट. वन पीस ऑफ एडवाइस, इफ इट इज अ philosophical essay, please go for real life anecdote. Because already it's a philosophical topic. In order to prove it to the examiner that you have understood the demand of the topic, please link it with the real personality example. It is easier to explain your point of view. That's just a piece of advice. In issue-based topics, you can go for fictional anecdote as well. Can it be an anecdote from your own personal life? Yes, it can be. Totally your choice. If you have a good command over essay writing or the answer writing, please go for it. It is a very innovative way of doing it. I'll just show you one script and will prove it is a very innovative way that you can give anecdote from your own personal life also. Is this very clear for everyone? Can I start the anecdote, the essay with the anecdote, and the same anecdote can be linked at the end of the essay in the conclusion? Yes, it can be done. But it has to be practiced before. If you don't have a practice of linking the anecdote, please don't take that risk in the examination. In examination, if you have not practiced it before, वहीं anecdote लिखो और वहीं खत्म कर दो. Do not carry it forward till the conclusion. But if you can actually make that complete cycle, it is going to give you an edge. So one should try doing that. Is the doubt clear with respect to anecdotes? Second, quotation. A piece of advice. Do not start philosophical essays with a quote. Examiner will get confused which quote you have answered. The one we asked or the one you wrote. No, it's not even funny. I think I was talking to an aspirant. सब heading भी अगर आप गलत बना देते हो ना, तो आप अपने ऐसे से digress कर जाते हो, क्योंकि फिर आप ऐसे को नहीं आंसर कर रहे, आप उस सब heading को आंसर कर रहे हो जो आपने लिखी है. तो be very cautious while you are using it. Is that clear? But can we use quotation during the essays? Yes. How many quotes we can use? 3 to 4 quotation. Otherwise, it will look like a collection of brainy quote. So don't go beyond 3 to 4 quotations. Can we use quotations of other language? Yes, but it should. For example, आपने हिंदी का कोई दोहा लिखा है, लेकिन डोंट राइट इट इन देवनागरी स्क्रिप्ट. जैसे मैसेजिंग करते हैं ना, रहीमन पानी राखिए, तो रहीमन को RAHI लिखिएगा. मैसेजिंग करते हैं बिल्कुल वैसे ही लिखेंगे. एंड प्लीज एक्सप्लेन द मीनिंग इन वन लाइन इन इंग्लिश, बिकॉज यू हैव चोजन इंग्लिश एज अ मीडियम ऑफ expression. You can't digress from that. Is that very clear? Can we use Sanskrit shloks? You can, but please explain the meaning clearly in English, because maybe the person who's reading does not understand the meaning of that Sanskrit shlok. So please make him understand the meaning in English. Is that very clear? Is it making sense? Always try. Philosophical essays में very effective way of conclusion is that the ultimate conclusion, आप कोई अच्छा श्लोक, कोई अच्छा दोहा, कोई अच्छी पोयम, कोई अच्छी कोट से करो, बहुत अच्छा इम्पैक्ट पड़ता है. इज दैट वेरी क्लियर? वील सी कैसे कर सकते हैं, बट यहाँ तक क्लियर हुआ. ठीक है. कोटेशन से रिलेटेड कोई डाउट है? हाँ, सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट, आपके पास नहीं है बट मुझे पता है कि वो जब लिखते वक्त आएगा कि अगर हमको नाम नहीं याद है जिसने कोट दी है, तो देखो जो याद ही नहीं है तो क्या कर सकते हैं. तो फिर ब्लफ मत करना, सिंगल इन्वर्टेड कॉमास में कोट को लिखना और आगे प्रोसीड कर जाना. बट वी वुड प्रेफर दैट यू शुड नो द name of a person who has given the quote. But let us suppose you don't know. Just leave it there. Don't bluff. What if they check? Or what if they knew who has given the quote? It will backfire. Never ever underestimate the intellectual ability of the examiner. जैसे बहुत सारे लोग बोलते हैं अरे मैंने डेटा में मस्त ब्लफ किया है, क्या ही फर्क पड़ता, कौन चेक करेगा? What if कर लिया तो? और what if उन्हें पता हो तो? So please don't bluff in this paper. That already shows you don't have integrity. So the point here is do not bluff. ठीक है? Is it making sense for everyone? ठीक? Next thing is conversation. It can be very effective. Just hold. Or before conversation, this is the topic. Alternate technologies for climate resilient India. There are some people who have knack of writing poems. So can we write our own poem on the spot? If you have that skill, please do that. There is this topper. उसने एक ऐसे में उसका देख रही थी, उसने पोयम लिखी. I thought कि चल एक में लिख ली. फिर मैंने दूसरा देखा, उसने उसमें भी लिखी. फिर तीसरे में भी लिखी. फिर मुझे समझ आया इसके पास स्किल है. And that really worked in his favor. Because वो बहुत अच्छा लगता है. ठीक है. Anyway, climate change is discussed from Rio to Bonn. Countries fighting among themselves and debate rage on. Temperature rises as sun shines strong, and we lower our AC temperature thinking what went wrong. Is it relevant to the topic which is asked? Is it making sense? So if on the spot you can think of something, please do that. It will really work in your favor. There is another topic that we discussed. Education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. In school we learn with all our might, facts and figures day and night. But as memories fade with time's cruel jest, true education is one which endures. It is the heart's bequest. तो कहते हैं ना वैल्यू, इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस, क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग, स्पिरिट ऑफ इंक्वायरी, ये है जो साथ में रहता है. रेस्ट एवरीथिंग फेड्स अवे एज योर memory fades. Is that making sense? There is another which I wanted to show, and that is conversation. I prepared one of the conversation, just a sec. Let's see if I have that. Here. This was this year's topic. A society that has more justice is a society that needs less charity. Clear hai topic? A society that has more justice is a society which needs less charity. I was thinking कि कोई एक innovative तरीका जहाँ से हम शुरू कर सके. So I showed a conversation between two people. The person says, have you ever considered how justice and charity relates in a society? Person B says, definitely. In a just society, the need for charity diminishes. So then A asks, why? Because equitable system prevent extreme disparities. So then A says, so justice kind of is acting as a safety net, to which B says, exactly. It minimizes the cracks in the society, reducing our reliance on the immediate fixes. So then A says, does charity still have role to play? To which they reply, absolutely. This time it will shift towards empowerment rather than meeting the immediate requirement. So in this context, now we will explore what does justice stands for, how it is different from charity, How justice reduces the need for charity, or does charity still holds relevance? Did you get my point? Are all the elements of the introduction clear for everyone? Is it making sense for everyone? Can we proceed further? ठीक है, तो इंट्रोडक्शन से रिलेटेड तो कोई डाउट नहीं है. कॉन्वर्सेशन लिख सकते हो, पैराडॉक्सेस लिख सकते हो. पैराडॉक्स का मतलब होता है टू एक्सट्रीम सिचुएशंस दिखाना. जैसे कि सपोज करो एजुकेशन वाला ही टॉपिक, व्हाट रिमेन्स विथ यू वन यू हैव फॉरगॉटन व्हाट यू हैव बीन टोल्ड और टॉट इन स्कूल. कैन आई टेक अ पैराडॉक्स ऑफ डॉक्टर APJ अब्दुल कलाम वर्सेस डॉक्टर AQ खान? Both were the nuclear project directors of their respective country, India and Pakistan. One was known for his integrity, whereas other did not have that. And that is why Dr. AQ Khan sold the nuclear codes to the other countries. Did you understand? दोनों ने पढ़ाई करी. Nuclear project से related, both had the skill, but one had the value system, whereas other did not. So education is what remains with you once you have forgotten what has been taught in school. Is that very clear for everyone? Can we start with a paradox? Yes, we can start with a paradox. Is it making sense for everyone? Can I proceed to the next part? We'll talk about how to make the essay multidimensional. See, there are many ways of making the essay multidimensional, but I'll quickly tell you 5 most important ways. The first one is the sectoral aspect, which most of us follow. To be honest, it should be GS paper 1 to GS paper 4. लिखने का भी एक तरीका होता है. अगर मुझसे पूछो तो I would always suggest start from history, then you go to society, then you go to polity, then we talk about economics, then we talk about environment, and then we talk about the ethical component. ऐसा नहीं आप ऊपर नीचे कर दोगे तो कोई फर्क पड़ेगा, लेकिन एक क्रोनोलॉजी होती है. And that chronology should be followed. GS paper 1 to GS paper 4. This is nothing but the sectoral approach. Is it making sense? Second way of making your essay multidimensional is temporal. और ये बहुत काम आता है, especially philosophical essays में, provided your ancient medieval history is good. आप जब examples लिख रहे हो, you can actually start from ancient, medieval, modern, post-independence, post-LPG, and contemporary. And एक piece of advice है. You are writing examples in this chronology. It is enough to tell the examiner that you are following the chronology. आपको लिखना नहीं पड़ेगा. In ancient India, during medieval times, during modern, नहीं. Your examples is enough to speak for itself. So when you are writing, just follow the chronology. Is this making sense for everyone? ठीक है. और अगर आपको इतना स्पेसिफिक नहीं पता है, प्री इंडिपेंडेंस, पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस, कॉन्टेम्पररी, उतना भी स्पेसिफिक याद नहीं आ रहा तो सिर्फ इतना लिख देना, पास्ट, प्रेजेंट एंड फ्यूचर. इज दिस क्लियर? हाउएवर वी प्रेफर दिस, और हम एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं एंशिएंट मिडिएवल इतना तो पढ़ ही लिया है. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट, this is my favorite way when it comes down to philosophical essay, and I've actually noticed most of the students have started following this, and it really works. Whenever you have to think about the example at individual level, example at family level, example at societal level, example at national level, it will never disappoint. लोग होता है ना कि बहुत बार एग्जाम्पल्स याद नहीं आ रहे, कैसे सोचें. दिस इज हाउ यू थिंक अबाउट द एग्जाम्पल, सोशो पोलिटिकल, इकोनॉमिक, कल्चरल, और यू थिंक अबाउट द एग्जाम्पल इंडिविजुअल, फैमिली, सोसाइटल, नेशनल और इंटरनेशनल. टोटली योर चॉइस. इज दैट वेरी क्लियर फॉर एवरीवन? नेक्स्ट, अनदर वे विच यू कैन चूज, और ये अक्सर इशू बेस्ड में होता है. वॉट एवर इज द इशू, आफ्टर दैट prospects, issues and challenges. Again, it never disappoints. Cashless economy, prospect, issues and challenges. Health as a fundamental right, prospects, issues and challenges. Universal health coverage, prospect, issues and challenges. Artificial intelligence, prospects, issues and challenges. Social media, prospects, issues and challenges. It never disappoints. अगर current issue based topic है, तो prospects, issues and challenges. This is how the body can be covered. Is it making sense for everyone? ठीक? Next. इंस्टीट्यूशनल अप्रोच. ये अब जरूरी हो गई है क्योंकि फिलोसॉफिकल एसेज आने लग गए. इंस्टीट्यूशनल अप्रोच मतलब टेकिंग एग्जाम्पल्स फ्रॉम इंस्टीट्यूशनल पर्सपेक्टिव, सच एज फैमिली, सच एज रिलीजन, सच एज पार्लियामेंट, जुडिशरी, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. These are nothing but the institutional approach, and it comes very handy if you have a philosophical essay. In fact, I remember one essay. Character of an institution is shaped by its leadership. Can I pick up any 5 institutions to discuss my topic? Did you get the point? Examples में multidimensionality कैसे आएगी? ऐसे आएगी. लेकिन ये आपका essay नहीं है. Essay क्या होगा? What do you mean by character? What are the institution? Why leadership is shaping the character? How it is shaping? What kind of leadership is required? अब जब लिख रहे हो ना what kind of leadership is required, तब examples in dimension से उठा सकते हो. At defense level, parliamentary level, media level, example of both good leadership and bad leadership. That is how the answer can be prepared. तो ये जो multidimensionality हम कर रहे हैं, this is with respect to the examples. Otherwise, essay की multidimensionality comes from deconstruction of the topic in brainstorming. Is it making sense for everyone? एक approach है, आप लोग ethics में पढ़ते हो. It can be used here as well. Stakeholder approach. And ये मैं सोच रही थी कि हम कहाँ अप्लाई कर सकते हैं. एक टॉपिक नहीं आया था that social justice without economic prosperity is not possible, and economic prosperity without social justice is meaningless. That was UPSC's topic. Can I say that जब मैं example लिख रही हूँ, then I can actually use stakeholder approach. For example, with respect to women, अगर इकोनॉमिक प्रॉस्पेरिटी नहीं है तो सोशल जस्टिस कैन नॉट बी इंश्योर्ड. बट लेट अस सपोज यू क्रिएटेड ग्राउंड्स फॉर इकोनॉमिक प्रॉस्पेरिटी बट यू डिड नॉट गिव देम द राइट टू ऑटोनॉमस डिसीजन मेकिंग, देन इट बिकम्स मीनिंगलेस. सिमिलरली विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू SC community, with respect to tribals, with respect to minorities, with respect to transgender, can I take that stakeholder approach in order to give examples to this topic? Did you get my point? Is it making sense? For example, इस बार का ही टॉपिक था, कहाँ चला गया? Society that has more justice is a society that needs less charity. Can I again take stakeholder approach to give examples? Did you get my point? How this is supposed to be? And finally, in this philosophical essay, personality-based approach. कि let us suppose you have to give examples at an individual level only. हमने अभी पढ़ा था ना? Examples can be at individual level, family level, societal level and national level. Let us suppose you have to give examples at individual level only. Then you can choose to give examples from different domains. अभी हमने integrity करते वक्त बोला था ना? It can be from political leadership, it can be from corporate sector, it can be from sports, it can be from administration, etc. तो जब personality based examples दे रहे हो, make sure you are not giving from the same sector. It should be as diversified as possible. Can we give mythological examples? Yes, but too much mythology not required. एक example बहुत है. उससे ये पता चल जाएगा you are connected to your roots. आपको हर तरह से, पर ये नहीं कि पूरा ऐसे ही mythology पे लिख दिया. तो वो नहीं करना है. Diversity should be reflected in your essay. Is the body component clear for everyone? Is it making sense for everyone? Can we move to Hanji? ये personality वाला. अरे, for example, visionary decision making happens at the intersection of intuition and logic. Give examples of different personalities who have been making visionary decisions, whether political, whether corporate sector. तो political leadership का example ले लो, लाल बहादुर शास्त्री जी, ठीक है, मैं एग्जाम्पल दे रही हूँ. या कॉर्पोरेट में ले लो रतन टाटा, स्टीव जॉब्स, यू कैन टेक द एग्जाम्पल. एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की बात कर सकते हैं, अवनीश सरन, प्रशांत नायर. These are the IAS officers who have been making visionary decisions. Then we can talk about, let us suppose, the officials, TN session, jab election reforms ki baat aayi. So personality-based examples. So that is how it happens. Is it clear for everyone? ठीक है? Can we proceed now? ठीक? We'll take the last part, that is conclusion. Before reading what you should do, please read what you should not do. That is more important for me. Do not summarize. I know many people would have told you that conclusion is summary, but trust me, it is not. Why am I saying this is? Then what is the third component of your introduction? वहाँ पे भी आप ये बता रहे हो आप क्या करने वाले हो, फिर summary में आप ये बता रहे हो आपने क्या लिखा. So in a way, you are repeating what you have already written. It is not going to add any value to your essay. Please don't write anything in your answer or essay which is not adding any value. So it's a request, don't summarize. Is that clear? Second, don't be apologetic in tone. Don't cut the sorry figure. जितना भी आपको poverty और immorality, unethicality दिखानी थी, वो आपने सब body में दिखा दी. अब कंक्लूजन में कोई सॉरी फिगर नहीं, कोई अपॉलॉजी नहीं. नाउ यू आर गोइंग टू प्रोवाइड द सॉल्यूशंस टू द प्रॉब्लम्स दैट यू हैव मेंशन्ड. डू नॉट स्टार्ट अ फ्रेश आर्ग्यूमेंट. उसका रीजन है, कंक्लूजन का बेसिक मतलब होता है सेंस ऑफ क्लोजर. यू हैव टू गिव अ सेंस ऑफ क्लोजर टू द डिस्कशन दैट यू वर कैरिंग आउट. डू नॉट एड अ फ्रेश आर्ग्यूमेंट. ठीक है, तो वो सेंस ऑफ क्लोजर फिर नहीं मिलता. एंड मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंटली, कंक्लूजन इज नेवर रिटन इन 1 or 2 lines. वो हमें लगता है that is the conclusion, but that is not how it is written. ठीक है. So let's do one thing. In the concluding part, let me just tell you how we are going to conclude. And trust me, it will work for you, both issue-based essay as well as philosophical essay. Penultimate conclusion and ultimate conclusion. पेनल्टिमेट कंक्लूजन अगर इशू बेस्ड ऐसे है और अगर फिलोसफिकल ऐसे है. अगर इशू बेस्ड ऐसे है, सो इट इज नथिंग बट वे फॉरवर्ड. एंड इफ इट इज अ फिलोसफिकल ऐसे, देन इट इज नथिंग बट प्रिस्क्रिप्शन. If it is a way forward, first way of writing is short-term way forward and long-term way forward. Another way of writing the way forward is infrastructural way forward, implementational way forward, and attitudinal way forward. Another way of writing way forward is what needs to be done at individual level, what needs to be done at societal level, what needs to be done at governmental level. Trust me, it will never disappoint. और सोच के रखो, 2 essays हैं, दोनों में डिफरेंट तरीके का वे फॉरवर्ड देना चाहिए. शॉर्ट टर्म लॉन्ग टर्म इसलिए कहते हैं क्योंकि अक्सर हम लॉन्ग टर्म लिखते हैं. मॉरल ओवरहॉलिंग ऑफ द सोसाइटी, चैलेंजिंग पेट्रियार्की, प्रमोटिंग जेंडर इक्वालिटी, कल तो नहीं होने वाला. ठीक है, सो गिव बोथ शॉर्ट टर्म एज वेल एज लॉन्ग टर्म वे फॉरवर्ड. अनदर वे, what infrastructure, how it needs to be implemented, and how attitude needs to be changed. What one should do at individual level, collective level and governmental level. ये मैटर नहीं करता कितना वे फॉरवर्ड दिया है, मैटर करता है कि वे फॉरवर्ड दिया है. That after highlighting the problems, you are also providing the solution. But let us suppose philosophical essay है, जहां पे प्रिस्क्रिप्शन देना है. Then you can follow what is known as socialization. Or what you can follow is emotional intelligence. or let us say Plato's 4 cardinal principles, या फिर teachings, for example Gandhi ji's talisman, or let us say Gandhi ji's 7 sin, or let us say religious teachings, teachings of Bhagavad Gita, Nishkam Karm, Sthit Pragnya, Eightfold Path of Buddhism, teachings of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Philosophical essay है यार, prescribe करना है कि अच्छे इंसान कैसे बने. So there are so many options. Again, I am saying what doesn't matter is how much you are writing. What matters is you are writing. That what makes the significant difference. Is it making sense for everyone? और ये जैसे ही ethics तैयार होगा, ये सब आपकी tips पे होगा. वैसे भी गांधी जी 7 sin, talisman, preamble, ये सब आपके tips पे होना चाहिए. It always comes very handy in writing the prescription. Is it making sense? ठीक है. And finally, you have the ultimate conclusion, which is nothing but overall inference. What is your final stand after whatever you have written so far? What is the final thing that you want to write? That is the overall inference. And trust me, I'll tell you my experience. I was just giving a feedback on the essay script. Very nicely written introduction और बहुत अच्छे से body लिखी थी. And actually I wanted to give 65-70 क्योंकि मुझे लग रहा था जैसे ही essay end हुआ, the ultimate conclusion एकदम flat था. वो मुझे लग रहा है वो सारी एनर्जी ऐसे लिखने में निकल गई कि वो लास्ट तक आते आते द पर्सन वाज आल्सो थिंकिंग कि बस खत्म करो. और वहाँ आके ना मेरा मूड ऐसा हो गया, शिट यार इतना अच्छा ऐसे लिखा था, मन था नंबर देने का, लेकिन ये अल्टीमेट जो कंक्लूजन है बिल्कुल रायता ही फैला दिया यार, मतलब कुछ लिखा ही नहीं. तो फिर मन मार के 60 नंबर देने पड़े कि, और एक्चुअली आई जेन्युइनली वांटेड टू गिव 70 इन दैट essay because everything was written so nicely. So what I'm just trying to tell you is examiner will give you marks after reading your ultimate conclusion. Prepare it beforehand. It cannot be flat. It cannot be non-captivating. It has to be visionary. It has to be optimistic. It has to be captivating. क्योंकि इसी पे number मिलेंगे. Please prepare your quotations. Please prepare your shloks, dohas, whatever you are comfortable with, or please prepare religious teachings or the teachings of the national leaders. Please prepare that. That will come very handy in writing the ultimate conclusion. क्योंकि number इसी के बाद मिलने हैं. तो वो जो एक्स्ट्रा 5-10 मार्क्स मिल सकते थे वो लार्जली डिपेंड करेगा कितना इंपैक्टफुल अल्टीमेट कंक्लूजन आपने लिखा है. इज इट मेकिंग सेंस फॉर एवरीवन? इज इट क्लियर फॉर एवरीवन? ठीक है. लेट मी जस्ट शो यू द लास्ट स्ट्रक्चर कि ओवरऑल ऐसे आपका ऐसा दिखना चाहिए. जिस दिन लिखो उस दिन देखना कि ऐसा लग रहा है देखने में. This is my introduction, first, second, third part, approximately 150 to 200 words. Introduction 1.5 से 2 पेज का होना चाहिए, not beyond that. Then your multi-dimensional body that you are going to write, it should have approximately 700 to 800 words. So at least 7 to 8 dimensions. And finally, we have conclusion, which has 2 components. One is penultimate conclusion, and finally is ultimate conclusion. Penultimate conclusion approximately is 100 to 150 words, and ultimate conclusion is 50 words. This is how a 1200 essay should look like. कोई hard and fast rule नहीं है that you have to write 1200 words. Anything between 1000 to 1200 will work. But it should not be less than 1000. It seems as if you didn't have the enough content. So anything between 1000 to 1200 is absolutely fine. But this is how the structure of the essay should look like. Just ensure penultimate conclusion for issue-based essay is different from a philosophical essay. And both have to be prepared separately. Is it making sense for everyone? Okay. We'll just have a quick look at the topper script. There is one topper script which I wanted to show. just read the topic. Action without thought is empty, and thought without action is blind. This is the topic. As a kid, I used to love traveling long distance via train. This was so because every travel meant a new book for me to read. On one such occasion, my dad got me Tinkle comic. This comic book is well known for its character named Supandi. In that particular edition, Supandi was preparing for a swimming competition. Rather than going to a swimming pool, he decided to train in a well, kuan, without giving a thought. The outcome was hilarious. On the final day of the competition, rather than swimming straight, Supandi started swimming in circle, as he was accustomed to train in the well. Another well-known character was that of Sheikh Chilli. He is very known for his khayali pulao. In one way, he is completely opposite to Supandi, for he has innumerable thoughts but zero action. The first part of intro is over. But did you notice कि एक aspect नहीं करा है, contextual relevance, both the aspect of the quote has been addressed. अब second component. These two examples highlight that action without thought is empty and thought without action is blind. एक line लिखनी है, but it makes a significant difference. Now comes the third component of the introduction. However, before dwelling deep on this, it is imperative to understand meaning of thought and action and their relationship. Did you understand the point? Is the third component visible? Now, person started writing the body. In simple words, what is thought? Finally, the person wrote what is action. However, thoughts and actions are not always complementary or supplementary. In fact, sometimes it may happen that there is no relation, but it should not be a case, otherwise there will be a total anarchy. अब आता है subheadings बनाना. तो इस ऐसे में दो ही main component थे, action without thought and thought without action, and finally you are middle path. So action without thought is nothing but empty. Now the first component of the essay, the person has showed how action without thought is empty, but for that first you need to explore what is the meaning of empty. So the person has explored the meaning of empty, और उसके बाद he has explored why actions occur without any thought. अब अगर हम brainstorming करें, तो क्या हम brainstorming में सबसे पहले नहीं लिखेंगे what is action, what is thought, why action is performed without thought, what can be the possible reason, and what does it mean by quoting it as empty. ये सब आपने brainstorming में किया है. अगर आप देखो तो brainstorming ही यहाँ पे reflect हो रही है. And finally, why actions occur without thought. So now, individual level. Sometimes it may happen because of the misconceptions. Sometimes it may happen because you have your own whims and fancies. एक मोहम्मद बिन तुगलक का एग्जाम्पल दे दिया, हाउ टू जस्टिफाई माई आर्ग्यूमेंट. देन नेक्स्ट, थॉट विदाउट एक्शन इज ब्लाइंड. तो अब यहां पहले डिस्कस किया व्हाट डज ब्लाइंड सिग्निफाइज. वंस यू हैव सिग्निफाइड दैट, अब उसने डिस्कस किया इंडिविजुअल लेवल पे ऐसा क्यों होता है, फिर सोसाइटल लेवल पे क्यों होता है, फिर नेशनल और इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे ऐसा क्यों होता है. कैन यू सी द मल्टी डायमेंशनैलिटी इट इज गेटिंग रिफ्लेक्टेड. And finally, ये वही डिस्कशन चल रहा है. Finally, walking the talk, reconciliation. What you are thinking, you should act on it. Is that clear? And the person has suggested the way forward, what needs to be done. There was one feedback that we gave. उसका reason था. The person has done walking the talk, reconciliation is nothing but penultimate conclusion. You have to tell what needs to be done. But उसके बाद क्या हुआ? What needs to be done? Firstly ये करो, secondly ये करो, thirdly ये करो, वो किया. But उसके बाद उन्होंने ये किया, after writing this much, just hold. Being said, it is also necessary to keep in mind that a simple reconciliation of thought and action may not always yield the positive result. It may have, you have destructive thoughts, or it may have, you have positive thoughts, but your actions are illegal or अनडिजायरेबल. तो ये जो काउंटर आर्ग्यूमेंट था ना, ये पेनल्टिमेट कंक्लूजन से पहले आना चाहिए था. आपने ये बोला एक्शन विदाउट थॉट इज ब्लाइंड, थॉट विदाउट एक्शन इज एम्प्टी, और उसके बाद आपको लिखना चाहिए था, ये जो काउंटर आर्ग्यूमेंट है, कि समटाइम्स द सिनर्जी बिटवीन एक्शन एंड थॉट गिव यू द डिजायर्ड रिजल्ट इज नॉट necessary. For example, I have a very kind thought. I want to work for the welfare of the society. So I indulge in what is known as Robin Hood concept. Stealing from the rich and distributing among poor. Thought अच्छा है, but action अच्छा नहीं है. और कहो तो destructive thought ही है. Is that very clear? For example, radicalization, violence, terrorism. So दोनों थॉट और एक्शन का भी सिंक में होना हर बार पॉजिटिव रिजल्ट दे ये जरूरी नहीं है. हेंस व्हाट नीड्स टू बी डन. नाउ कम बैक टू द prescription which a person has given, and the person has used value based prescription. For example, the person should have patience, person should have probity and integrity, person should have compassion. अब ये पॉइंट मायने नहीं रखता कि अरे इसने तो 3 ही डिस्कस की, 5 और हो सकती थी. तुम 50 लिख लो, तुम्हारे पास जगह हो तो. बट द पॉइंट हियर इज स्ट्रक्चर विजिबल हो रहा है, ठीक है. एंड वंस यू हैव रिटन दिस, फाइनली यू कंक्लूड बाय सेइंग, therefore it is imperative to have both good thoughts and choose the right action. One must recall the words of Swami Vivekananda while forming a thought. Once thought define oneself, they travel far. Moreover, for action, Gandhiji's talisman is a perfect guiding light. This is the ultimate conclusion. Is the essay looking structured? Are all the aspects good? Introduction, very captivating ultimate conclusion. क्या तीनों parts introduction के थे? बॉडी में सब कुछ एड्रेस्ड है, कंक्लूजन में दोनों पार्ट्स दिख रहे हैं. दिस ईयर सेकंड टॉपर 149 गौतम विवेकानंदन, रैंक 211. इज इट मेकिंग सेंस? ठीक है. अब आप कोई भी टॉपर की स्क्रिप्ट विजन के प्लेटफॉर्म से उठा के देख लो, एक चीज जो नहीं बदलेगी किसी में वो है स्ट्रक्चर. सो इफ दैट आर स्ट्रैटेजी हैज वर्कड फॉर देम, it will work for you as well. Is that very clear? But ultimately what matters is whether you are applying the strategy or not, whether you are practicing. There is only one difference between success and failure, and that is action. So enough of preaching today, enough of teaching today. Ultimately what matters is whether you are putting all of that in practice or not. Now look, whatever doubts you had written in the beginning of the lecture, has everything been resolved? Is it clear for everyone? Will you try writing the essay? One short advice, try to answer this year's paper. Try to solve, because this year's paper was very doable. I will not say easy or difficult, वो बहुत vague होता है. It was very doable. Try to attempt this year's paper. And if you have any difficulty, then you need to approach us. Is that clear for everyone? But is every doubt clear? Do you still have any question? हाँ बोलो. That's what I said. You can write it from your personal life in the introduction, but not in the entire essay. In the introduction, because you're writing an anecdote from your personal life, so it can be done. Okay? Is it clear? Hanji.
While discussing the multi-dimensional approach, you have told us institutional approach. So in that, there is a subheading politics. Politics, you can quote politics leadership, political leadership as well.
But that was personality based examples, so you can quote political leadership as well. Okay. That was written in personality based example, not the institution. Institution में आएगा family, caste, religion, media, parliament, defense, ये सब आएगा.
Okay. Okay.
ठीक है. Anything else? Can we conclude the session? ठीक है. So on this note, we conclude the session. The PPT would be there uploaded in the description box. So you just हाँ जी बोलो बोलो बिल्कुल बोलो.
Has to be done together or separately?
क्या मैं समझी नहीं, sorry.
Brainstorming of both the question in the beginning or after writing the first one?
Oh, अच्छा, that is, see, to be very honest, I initially thought that it should depend upon the individual. But then I would suggest that brainstorming should be done separately for the topics. Do the brainstorming, write, then do the brainstorming and then write. Because sometimes I feel when you do 2 brainstormings together, you might get confused, especially if both the topics are philosophical in nature. So it would actually depend upon the individual, but if you ask my opinion, I would suggest brainstorming, write the essay, brainstorming, write the essay. ठीक है? Is that clear for everyone? ठीक? So on this note, we conclude the lecture. Please try writing the essay and don't fear this paper. In fact, I remember in our classroom lectures which we used to take for essay, जब बच्चे शुरू में आए, मैम philosophical कैसे होगा, 4 classes हो गई, 5वें में जब मैंने issue based लिखवाना शुरू किया तो बच्चे ये बोलने लगे, मैम इससे तो आसान philosophical ही था. So the point here is जैसे जैसे आदत पड़ती जाएगी, practice होगी, तो चीजें अपने आप आसान लगने लग जाएंगी. Is that clear? चलो, take care people, all the best, happy learning.